Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to final exams here at Runeterra Academy. It's the freshman class, Friday night. You know it means freshmen. We have Big Duck Entourage Druid looking to complete their Cinderella story, going from 4th seed in Division 1 all the way up to the grand finals, going up against TD Shadow, first seed of Division 2, who have been wrecking things to no surprise at all. So we are sure to have a fantastic series tonight. My name is Tajigar, or Taz for short. I'm sure you know that by now. Joined by, I'm sure you know by now, Wee Wizard on the desk. Wee Wizard, how are you feeling about tonight's matchup?
Doing pretty good. Both of these teams have played extremely well this season, and this is the finals we have been waiting for. Hopefully, one team is going to fail, and they're going to be held back a year, unfortunately. But I do want to take a look, looking at the statistics. I'm a colorcaster. I love my statistics. Keep an eye on this bot lane. Both of these ADCs are the highest ranked on their respective teams. We have Prevail on the side of Big Doug Entourage Druid and Clone Man 54 from the side of TD Shadows. Both of them very highly ranked, highest on their team. So hopefully we see some spicy action in the bot lane with these ADCs. But with that being said, we are going to head over to the draft and see what is going to be picked and banned in this game. Hopefully we see some interesting picks, maybe a little spiciness aside from Misfortune, Amumu.
We see some spicy bans, to say the least, coming off in our first round. The Zyra and the Yasuo banned away. Unsurprisingly, not meta picks overall being banned away because we are in the freshman class. But yeah, it's who do you know that these people are going to be happy to play? In this case, it's the Yasuo and the Yone banned away by the side of Big Duck Entourage. Zyra
Fishing for honor.
yeah,
they don't want Fishing for honor having any fun this game, and on the side of Crockpot, they also don't want both of the brothers. They're gone. It's like solo queue all over again. No surprise seeing the Tom Kench band. Tom Kench and Camille both are extremely dominatory in the top lane, and that's all the bans, 3 for each. And Amumu first picked. What a surprise! Will we see the Misfortune followed up from Big Duck Entourage Druid? Or maybe we see some Lucian Nami just to make things extra spicy.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised at all if there's bot lane priority in the draft phase between these two teams. As you just said, both bot lanes among some of the higher performers in both divisions. But we're going to see the Jinx picked up, locking in that safe late game. Nunu will as well, and hey, Jinx being locked in. Arcane premieres tomorrow. Be sure to tune in for that. Right, we support you and everything.
Jinx, not sponsored by Riot Games.
Not sponsored by literally Jinx from Fortnite now. That's not good.
No.
Sivir locked in for the side of TD Shadow. There's that bot lane already finished off with the Nautilus, as we can safely assume the support. And we'll just have to see if Druid do want to finish off their bot lane pairing in this first phase as well.
Absolutely, and the Nunu pick is what I find particularly interesting from the side of Big Entourage Druid. It's a really ballsy pick, and I want to say that, followed up by the Sivir Nautilus. Sivir is pretty good, just having the spell shield, right? You can pretty much deny the Nunu Snowball. However, if she uses spell shield willy-nilly, or out of maybe a little bit non-disciplined use, I would say, then Nunu can snowball down the river and make some juicy stuff happen. Or maybe you just focus the Nautilus and try to get him down first. But that being said, we do have our second phase of bans coming through. More mid lane bans, as expected. Both these mid laners seem to be trying to, I'm sure they're saying in comms, this guy doesn't get to play the game. This guy doesn't get to play the game. So we see, honestly, three mid lane bans from each side. That's pretty respectful, I would say.
For sure, but both of the names in the mid lane for both of these teams. It is Crockpot, not See the Dark, starting us off tonight for TD Shadow, but Fishing for Honor, as we said, a lot of highly rated players on both of these teams in the freshman class as a whole.
Absolutely.
Let's see now the Galio being hovered. I know Galio is it seems like a popular pick for the mid
Yeah.
lane for TD Shadow. So it could be Big Duck Entourage simply saying we don't want them to get this, and we think our mid laner is decent enough at this champion anyway. So we're gonna go ahead and take it out of
Oh,
their hands.
it's a rumble Monday.
Okay, yeah. As soon as I say that, I hear a bunch of chat notifications in the lobby, and they're saying that spec is glitched and it is a rumble locked in for the side of BDED.
And I think that's definitely an interesting pick, right? You have Rumble gives you, obviously you have the heavy AP damage, as well as a pretty, substantial ultimate, right? Both Galio and Rumble have very impactful ultimates in a team fight. Galio obviously has more range and roam potential than the Rumble does. But TD Shadow following up with a Kennen in the top lane, and I see like we have a lot of, you know, let's say flexibility in the draft from what we normally see, and that's what's really hyping me up for this series. And I think that's a Wukong. Oh, actually, I don't know which one's going where. It could be either Kennen mid or Wukong mid. So keeping Big Doug Entourage on their toes with this one.
Yep, that for sure. And then also see the Wombo combo is real for the side of TD Shadow. Sivir
Yeah.
presses R, Nautilus presses R, Amumu presses Q, and then R. Kennen presses probably Proto Belt Flash, and then R. Wukong, everybody's going in. And it's going to be, probably protect the president, especially with a carry champion like the Jinx, who you need to survive in that team fight. And I'm not hearing chat notifications telling me it's a glitch. So yes, that is Quinn locked in for the side of BDED, most likely going
Very
top.
interesting.
And
Yeah.
I guess maybe nerfs are justified because now we're suddenly seeing Quinn's a lot up there.
Yeah, and I think Quinn is so strong just because you have the range advantage. Obviously not against the Kennen, but in general you have the range advantage. And then once you hit 6, you have such great mobility that you can really roam. You can roam bot, even you're so fast you can actually roam bot and then ult back top lane, and it's like you were never gone. And meanwhile your top laner, if they don't have TP, they're kind of just like, well, you guys don't die down there. And it seems like that's what Druid are playing for, right? When you have the Nunu, the Galio, the Quinn, you're really playing for a pick comp, right? You see someone in the side lane, Nunu snowballs in, Quinn flies down there, and then Galio ults in, and all of a sudden that person, oh, it's not right. Well, anyway, you still have all this high mobility, right? Rumble has the equalizer to slow him down, and you just have so much side lane pressure just with the champions you've chosen. Meanwhile, as you were saying, TD Shadows, they're going for this pretty ultimate wombo combo in these team fights, and that it makes me want to sort of lean into their favor a little bit more, just because ease of execution is so critical in the freshman class. I would say higher than other classes, and press R comps are just that's like peak. That's like peak ease of execution, because if TDS just ARAMs mid like Druid are a little, I would say they're a little in the downside, right? Unless you get some angles, but having the Quinn pick, I think in particular, can really backfire if TD Shadow are forcing 5v5 fights around objectives.
Yeah, and it's just like you said, the Quinn pick really opens up those side lanes. But at the same time, if TD Shadow it's probably harder to force somebody. Well, wait, I want to make sure I word this correctly. It's probably easier to. I think I just worded it wrong. Dang it. TD Shadow is like currently their position is not as difficult as the side of Big Duck Entourage Druid, because I think it's easier to force somebody to 5v5 in response to you rather than force them to side lane in response to you, because it's kind of like at the end of the day, it's like, okay, Quinn is pushing side lane. At the end of, okay, we lose some turrets, maybe an inhib, but we're just going to walk it to these objectives and then walk it down mid, and Quinn is basically out of the fight the whole time, and their only carry is Jinx. Rumble can dish out some spooky damage sometimes, but especially when you have a comp like this, it's you said Quinn has great mobility. Okay, she's up in the side lane. Maybe she can rotate up to an objective as it's coming in to join the fight. Not if all the TD Shadow just press R and the fight's over before you even get there. I think that this comp on the side of Big Duck Entourage Druid is really teetering on the edge of, if Quinn can't get ahead and establish dominance, being able to push those side lanes, teetering on the brink of practically helplessness, in my opinion. Where's your disengage?
Yeah.
Leona? Okay.
Equalizer?
Yeah. Equalizer, Leona, maybe a Nunu R or Snowball,
Yeah.
but you don't want to use those as disengage. Those are great tools for, like you said earlier, finding picks, especially in these side lanes. But if you're forced to use them as a pick, you don't have them for the fight. And TD Shadow going up against the side of BDED without the ultimates, I think I'm going to put all my money on TD Shadow winning those fights.
Yeah, and I think I agree. Comps like Big Duck Entourage Druid are not necessarily bad, and they may even be stronger in the freshman class.
High risk, high reward, if I have to say.
Right, because you're relying on the enemy team to make a mistake, right? If all of a sudden you see, Wukong pushing top lane with TP down and dragons coming up, all of a sudden, Druid, maybe they can, force a 5v4 around Dragon Pit, or if they have vision control. And then with those numbers, then all of a sudden the fight turns in your favor and TD Shadows loses their Wombo combo that they drafted around. So Big Duck Entourage Druid really need to play around their vision. They need to, keep track of summoners, who has TP, who has flash, right? Does Kennen have flash? That's a really important question between, winning a fight and losing a fight. And playing around those numbers, especially once Quinn hits 6, right? If we see like a 4-man dive mid lane on this Kennen, that could be really, really good in allowing Druid to snowball the early game and establish a lead for themselves so that they can win the objective fights later in the game.
So I think that's gonna wrap it up for us here over in Champ Select. Looking at it, Big Duck Entourage Druid needs to hit the ground with the pedal to the metal, making sure they can get their carries ahead early, or they may be in for a tough time facing the absolute death ball wombo combo that is the comp for TD Shadow. We're going to get into it right after this quick break. It is game 1 in this best of 5 between TD Shadow and Big Duck Entourage Druid. In the grand finals, winner of this series takes first place in all the prizes here at Runeterra Academy. Stick with us. Don't click out of that browser. We'll be right back. Welcome to Summoner's Rift, ladies and gentlemen, on this final exam night for Runeterra Academy's freshman class. It is Big Duck Entourage Druid, 4th seed from Division 1, going up against TD Shadow. Let me double check. I believe they were 1st seed in Division 2. Oh, sorry about that. 2nd seed to Big Duck Entourage's counterpart, Big Duck Entourage Shaman. So we have 2nd seed from Division 2 going up against 4th seed of Division 1. But the Druid, despite being 4 teams, have pulled off nothing short of a miracle run through the playoffs so
Yep.
far. We'll see if they can put the ribbon on the present tonight by taking this grand finals match. Nothing spicy for the start. It's a 5-point.
Absolutely no invade quite yet, but we do still have some interesting summoners and runes. Chief up in the top lane on the Quinn opted for the Ignite, giving, you have the solo kill pressure at the cost of not having, a cross map potential play. We did note that playing Quinn, you do have roam pressure once you're level 6, but it's
Yep.
not instantaneous like teleport is. And Beyblade may have an opportunity to make a play bot lane or mid lane that Chief is just not going to be able to respond to just because he's stuck in lane, channeling his ultimate. Um, Meanwhile, in the bot lane on Clone 54, we do see the lethal tempo on the Sivir, means he's going for on hit rather than lethality, which we approve. And nice big hook coming out to start the game.
Yep. Creation line will land, but not a very large trade by any means down here in the bot lane.
Yep, just some poke damage coming.
Yep. It's kind of weird.
Meanwhile,
Uh,
both junglers starting bot side, so this top lane cryo is going to be very important, and Quinn most likely is going to have the favor, getting to level 2. And we were talking about the range advantage in Champ Select. It is definitely pretty brutal. But second wind D shield, oh, he doesn't have second wind, but the D shield should be pretty solid in helping him out.
mm-hmm. Mid lane is stalemate so far. But it's weird, kind of weird because Kennen has the mid lane advantage, or not mid lane advantage, range advantage there in the mid lane. But
Yeah.
Rumble's clear can be incredibly quick, especially when he gets that the overheat buff onto that flame spitter.
Yeah, and I actually didn't notice until you just said it, but I didn't realize he actually started amplifying tone health potion, which is a very interesting start. Most likely trying to get an early power spike. I would have assumed a lost chapter, but he doesn't use mana, so
Yeah.
I'm not quite sure what he's going for with the amp tome. But we'll just wait to see what his first back is, and maybe we're all going to be in awe of his amazing powers. But Quinn in trouble top lane.
Yep, Flashbang forced out from Chief Lennox staying on top with the mana shots from the Mumu. Gonna secure first blood as Vinny heads up there on the Nunu. Beyblade forced to back away, not get rooted up. But it will be first blood up in the top lane for the side of TD Shadow. 2 flashes for 1, however, blown to get that kill.
Yeah, especially with a Mumu getting the first blood, it is not the most impactful thing in the world if you're TD Shadows. Obviously, gold is gold, right? But the Wukong getting the gold may have turned the top lane tide right on its head in favor of Wukong. But he only gets 200 gold instead of the 400 gold. So we'll see if how TD Shadows utilizes this early gold lead. And with Nunu not getting either of the Scuttle Crabs, this further amplifies the gold advantage in TD Shadow's favor. With securing both Scuttle Crabs, the XP, extra XP for Sivir in the bot lane, extra gold for Sivir, and starving Vinny out just a little bit more. Which not the worst thing, as you're playing Nunu, right? You are pretty much just a support tank, but every little bit counts, and we may see the impact of that with almost a half K gold lead just 4 minutes into the game.
Yeah, that new dragon will be up in 25 seconds. It will be an ocean dragon, so we won't see that ocean soul coming up later on. Back's completed for Chief. Well, it's because he died. Just picking up that long sword.
The way you said that was just so funny.
We can't say fast back there because it wasn't executed. It was giving away first blood, which you don't want. A couple of long swords picked up for Prevail. It was the side of Big Duck Entourage recalling first in that bot lane. And it seems like TD Shadow do have priority down there for now. But with the wave possibly bouncing back right under tower, as Druid are there all alone, we could see bot lane prio giving way to Big Duck Entourage looking to claim this first dragon.
Yeah, and especially with them having the bot lane cryo, right? Their bot lane is pushing out, having just got off a fresh reset. They
Why are they
are
freezing
in a.
safe?
I
You hard
don't know.
push there.
Yeah, I mean, I guess they. Yeah, it's definitely a little
Okay.
weird. Now they're kind of in a tough spot, but
Yep, and then
Nunu's
Nunu's
pathing
going top.
topside,
Okay.
so
They don't want the dragon right now.
yeah, I guess they'll take their sweet time getting to it. But I really do like the Dark Seal pickup from Nunu. I think Dark Seal is extremely underrated just because there's really no downside to getting it. It's so gold efficient that either you completely snowball out of control with it, or you can just worst case you just sell it later,
Mhm.
or you get some hate, you get some HP, you get some AP, very solid on Nunu, and not going to be able to find the Wukong in the top lane.
No. Lennox was falling behind Vinny, but would turn around as nothing quite comes of it. Waiting that pixel brush. He'll spot it out.
Yep,
This
pretty good vision from the
Yep.
side of TD Shadows, spotting out the Nunu.
Up at the top lane, we have some vision coming out from TD Shadow, but down the bot side, near the Dragon Pit, we actually have some strong vision put out by the side of Big Duck Entourage Druid. As you
Hmm.
can see, they have still forward in that tri-bush there. One also up in the long bush for River. Nothing quite behind the Dragon Pit, which would be really helpful should they decide they do want to go for it. But Nunu is still hanging out in top lane as
Yeah,
Chief moves the
and
lane.
yeah, and I think that the big thing about that is Beyblade used his flash in that
Mhm.
earlier engage, and getting Chief Queef ahead is could be so critical to this game for the side of Big Entourage Druid. But Chief with that level 6, looking for this crockpot.
And there's going to be Equalizer coming out, but not much of a slow caught. Now, the bot lane of TD Shadow knows that Prevail is all alone in the bot lane. So Crockpot definitely overstepping his bounds, going forward to try to clear that wave like that. Fortunately for him, Leona did not have level 6, or else that, in my opinion, most definitely would have been a kill there in the mid lane.
Yep, and we were talking, the flash on Kennen can be so
Mhm.
critical, and forcing that out, it is a little early in the game, right? But that is a cooldown that is better burnt than having available, and it's a little, the Quinn pick is. We were talking about the Rome potential, nothing quite happening yet,
Mhm.
and with Beyblade hitting level 6, it's going to be a lot harder for Chief to get. Like, look at that!
Yep.
Look, it is just so hard for Quinn to win that lane.
Bot
But that being said,
lane,
Nunu
he
in the
goes to
bot
Snowball,
lane.
is going to catch one on the hunt just to try to get out of there. Brandon needs help, He's trying to run, but a nice root coming out from the Nunu
Oh!
and a flash from the Nautilus will ensure they do not get caught up in that Blizzard. Super Mega Death Rocket will get nothing, but Big Dick Entourage as a team will get something as they turn their eyes to this Ocean Drake.
Yeah, that was a great hook from Brandon in the bot lane, getting pretty solidly safely out of Vinny, and Beyblade's going to go
Oh,
down, taking that extra
that
turret shot.
was a misplay to say
Brutal.
the least, I would say, for
Yeah.
Beyblade there. Expending Flash once again. This time, however, it did not work out in their favor. At the very least, forced Chiefs out at the same time, but you died in the end, so
Yeah.
not worth.
In their defense, I believe they were blindsided, so maybe they didn't see the turret. But
Mm,
either way, that is very, very painful for Beyblade. Having the Flash as a melee champion is so much more important than having it on the range champ. And as long as Chief gets out here, that is very favorable freight for Big Dick Entourage Druid. And with the Nautilus also not having Flash, Nunu has pretty solid gank options for the
mhm.
next couple minutes. All the solo laners missing Flash except for Sivir. And overall, I think Nunu has the potential to make something really big happen, either by getting Herald with disadvantage or getting kills in the solo lane.
Yep. That was the collapse up here in the top river. Lennox catching Vinny in the middle. Look at the damage coming out from the Amumu. It's going to be Curse's Ad Mummy and the slicing Maelstrom cutting through the jungle mid duo of Big Duck
Oh, the
Entourage Druid,
slicing
and
maelstrom.
both will fall.
It hurts. It really hurts. I mean, this is an early game, right? This is
Yep.
an early game Kennen, and it's painful. It really hurts, and it's just that was just the wombo comp, and that was only two ultimates, right? We were talking about how you add the cyclone to the mix, you can
Mhm.
add the you had to on the hunt for even more movement speed getting there, and I think that missed somehow. That was
Ooh,
interesting.
solar flare will go wide.
Unfortunate. But just the pure damage that can come out from the side of TD Shadows, um, when when Big Deck Entourage goes for an equal fight, right? That was a 2v2. Both
Hmm.
of them, equal levels, equal CS, equal farm overall. But it's just competitive at that point.
All right, as the defensive cyclone being forced out of Beyblade in the top lane, going to catch Chief with a fall. Yes,
Oh!
they will. And then Chief
Uh-oh.
needs to manage that distance.
Yeah. And that's the thing, right? Once Beyblade on the Wukong hits level 6, it is really difficult to manage your distance because
Hmm.
Wukong has two dashes. He has one that's first of all invisible to you, so you don't know where he went, forward or backward. And the second one is a huge, dash towards you, increasing his attack speed. So
Hmm.
it is very difficult to win post level 6 just because Wukong has such gap closing potential. But ultimately, it is a misplay from Chief, not using his backflip on the Wukong, I guess, to maintain the distance after the dashes are used.
Yep. Looks like Chief is gravitating toward that shield bow as opposed to the Kraken Slayer, which like makes sense.
Yeah.
I think personally, if I was playing this Quinn, I would much prefer the Kraken Slayer. But going up against a team comp like this, I think the shield bow is practically a necessity.
Yeah, I definitely agree. The only downside to Druid is, flashes are coming up, and Nunu is really starting to lose some of that potential, right?
Hmm.
Like, Amumu already has Mythic Item, first on the map. And, it helps that he got the first blood and another kill, but your impact as a jungler really goes down as Nunu over time just because you're supposed to be this early game, snowballing, pun intended, as always, champion, and you just really can't do that. Once it's already 13 minutes into the game, and Lenning's caught out on this
Yeah,
Rift Herald,
gonna be a
maybe
move versus
disaster.
Quinn, but look at that damage ticking away. There's going to be a flash forward and a slicing Maelstrom is going to catch both the mid lane and the top laner. Crockbot's going to find the kill. Chief falling. Rift Herald will be claimed by the side of TD Shadow. Temerere coming in. Solar Flare will land for just a slow. TD Blade and a stun equalizer all stacking on top of this little mummy. It's going
Wow.
to end up in death as Prevail tries to get away now in the bot lane. A depth charge and a Boomerang Blade cleanse pop, but I don't think it will be enough. Clone Man gets the kill. It's going to be
Yeah.
kills all across the map. In the end, an even 2 for 2, I believe, between the teams.
Yeah, and I want to say that was worth for TD Shadows because he got the Rift Herald, but I don't think Amumu's going to be able to drop it in time before turret plates fall.
Mm-hmm.
This happened in 30 seconds. Amumu's still in base. So the worth of Rift Herald does go down, especially if Druid gets this dragon spawning in 10 seconds. Infernal Dragon means it's either a Cloud or Mountain Soul. Um, and I honestly think Cloud Soul would be so big for TD Shadows. I mean,
Yep.
just adding the movement speed on top of the Sivir, on this cannon and a Mumu, it's just like Wukong, it's just I want to see it. I actually want to see it. But with two dragon advantage over to the big ducks, it's gonna be tough for TD Shadows to obtain a soul. The best they could probably hope for in this game is just stalling out the soul from Druid, and but you never know, right? Things can happen. We've seen reverse sweeps in terms of dragons before, and I wouldn't call this game any exception necessarily. But Wukong getting this first turret just
Yeah.
from the Quinn roaming, and what is going to happen here? Can he get the 1v1?
Cyclone's going to come out, but Temeriere is here to provide support. Xenoblade will miss. A Solar Flare is going to land for the stun. Chief being able to make some distance, but Crockpot has joined the fight with the teleport. Going to find one kill, looking to find a second with help from their top laner, but you are out of mana, my good sir. Forced to back away is the Wukong and all the members of TD Shadow. At the very least, putting Chief further behind, which is what you do not want as the side lane Quinn.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great play from TD Shadows. Teleport from Crockpot. I think saved Beyblade's life pretty solidly. And not
Mm-hmm.
only do you save his life, but you also get this kill onto Chief. And the Quinn, I would say, really far behind, right? If you're the
Mm-hmm.
ranged top laner, there's no excuse to being 25 gold down. You gave over, you lost first turret. you may have leaned into the roaming too much just because you didn't actually gain anything from it. And, you're down a level and, this down the CS. And the only thing keeping you alive is maybe this rumble in the mid lane with the equalizer.
Mm-hmm. It's 4 mythics completed on the side of Big Duck of TD Shadow. 1 completed for the side of Big Duck
Yeah.
Entourage Druid. And we're 15 minutes into the game. And so that just kind of tells you how things have been going. If we just look at it's a quick maths 3.5 thousand gold lead right now in
Yeah.
favor of TD Shadow. And
It definitely hurts. I would
yeah,
agree.
play around the objectives all you want. At this point, TD Shadow wants you to play around those objectives because then you're forcing a fight.
Oh my god, that rumble damage! What the heck?
Big Glad's going to come out, but it's not placed perfectly.
Wow!
A flash free spinner is going to secure the kill. That's a shutdown. 150 gold bounty going over to Fishing for Honor, who did have the only completed mythic, so that could be a ray of
Yeah.
hope for the side of the Druids.
Yeah, and interesting that he went for the Night Harvester instead of the more popular Hextech Rocket Belt, just because of the magic penetration being so crucial in assassinating these squishy targets. But Night Harvester doing respectable damage on its own, and we saw the solo kill potential just
Yep.
there from Fishing for Honor. And I really think this Rumble may be the saving grace for Big Tech Entourage Druid if they're able to play around it correctly, and if they can just cut the bleeding on these other lanes.
Mm-hmm.
Because you have a Jinx, right? You have a Jinx, you have the scaling. Chief in the top lane, he wants a round 2.
Yeah, I could have kite a little better to get away from the second cast of the Cyclone. This is going to be Beyblade staying on top with the completed Divine Sunder. Chief to trying to make some space. Look at those Qs coming through. Beyblade,
Okay.
however.
Wukong had it. He queued a minion.
Bruh, moment.
Oh, it's pain. It's pain. Luckily, he backed out before the Nunu was able to respond. And yes, the Nunu has 2 kills and 4 Dark Seal stacks, but that's not where you want the gold to be. And 0 assists on Nunu, 17, almost 18 minutes into the game. It's not looking great. If you're forbidden.
Yeah, and just, the side of Druid needed Vinny, for Vinny, to come up. I would say much more impactfully in that early game. But we hit the mid lane or mid game, and it's just we haven't seen much, especially in comparison to what Lennox has been accomplishing. But not for long. Equalize is gonna come out and try to keep Lennox in place. Leona will help as Crockpot is forced to flash out of there. Slicing Maelstrom to provide some self-peel. Big damage coming through with the help of the turret. Fishing for Honor is going to tank those turrets like a champ and go down, making it the 1-for-1. That's a lot of resources blown just to try to secure that kill.
2-for-1, not 1-for-1.
Oh, 2-for-1. Sorry. Yes. Yep. Good point.
Yeah, I think definitely a good fight. Unfortunately, Fishing for Honor dies on the back end. But, he didn't have a Dark Seal. Doesn't really matter. No shutdown. Not a big deal. And Jinx getting one of the kills. Very big. I think it was cross-map with the Super Mega Death Rocket, but I'm not sure. I don't remember. I think so.
Yeah, her ultimate was
little
used.
KS action. Overall, with this dragon coming up in 5 seconds, is this going to be the sole point from Big Duck Entourage Druid? And the big thing, right? You have the Nunu, so you can always go for like a suicide steal if you somehow lose the next fight. Nunu having one of the best, combo smites in the game. I think it goes up to 1.8k damage. Are we going to see that right
There's
here?
There's a depth charge going on into the Nunu. Solar Flare is going to go way wide. Forfeiting will fall very early. Plume Man free firing away with that completed Kraken Slayer. Leona go in, try to lock them down, but it's not going to work. It's a Cyclone onto the whole back line of Druids. Fishing for Honor, the only hope right now for the side of Druid, abandoned to their fate in the middle of the enemy team. And the Dragon and fight will go over to TD Shadow.
Yeah, and just like that, we're seeing the absolute team fight prowess from the side of TD Shadows. There was pretty much nothing Druid could actually do there, right? You have a rumble with an equalizer in a narrow corridor, but Shadows has Wukong, Kennen, Amumu. Like Amumu wasn't even in this fight; he was doing Dragon. It was literally just Kennen, Wukong. So that was only 1% of their true power, to quote the famous meme. But it's I'll say the only benefit to the side of Druid is you got the first two dragons, right? You stalled out 10 extra minutes before Shadows can claim the soul. And if you can claim the soul yourself, Mountain Soul is going to be so huge in denying the burst wombo from Shadows.
Yep.
So I think Druid really kind of have to lean into this soul um, win con, because without it, I just don't see them winning 5v5 fights. And based on the gameplay so far, they really have not been able to find any side lane pressure. Quinn being 1-4, it really just doesn't help your side lane prowess at all, especially building the defensive um, Immortal Shieldo, which I think is probably the right choice, but
Hmm.
it just it just makes your side lane that much weaker.
Yep. At the very least, Mythic's completed for everybody on Druids by now. But then again, we have
Meanwhile, two
yeah,
items,
2 items
second
on the
items
Sivir.
starting to be completed by Shadows on
Hmm.
the Sivir and the Wukong. And the CS leads are narrowing a little bit, right? We do see Jinx catching up quite a bit on the CS she was missing. Rumble still ahead a fair bit, but overall, I would say CS is about even, just because of top lane in the favor of Shadows, but mid lane in favor of Fishing for Honor. Um, the jungle also in favor of Shadows. So it's the kills and the CS, I believe, are in favor of Shadows. That's why we see such a pretty drastic lead. But Nunu Snowball.
Yep, Soulfare is going to land, as is the Snowball. It's going to Prevail, trying to follow up with that Jinx damage. Depth Charge comes out too little, too late to save the life of Brandon. Needs help. That's going to be a pick on the support in mid lane.
And
Unfortunately, kind of awkward timing, unless they want to try Force Baron here.
I would say awkward timing, but a kill is a kill, and when you're
Yeah.
behind 4K gold, every kill counts, right? And I'm just glad that they're able to play into their oh
Look at that. Should be
oh.
a no.
I'm just glad that Druid are starting to play into their pick comp potential.
Mhm.
Even in such a safe position as like a couple feet in front of your turret, they're still able to get a kill, and I think that is promising, right? Druid are, it shows that they kind of know what they're doing. They have the potential, and now they just need to execute um, at a more crucial timing, as you were saying, where they can get a dragon or a baron off of that.
Mhm. This
Oh,
is
but hook
Prevail being caught
lands.
way out front by that depth, by the dredge line. It's going to be a Cyclone to follow up. Prevail is going to fall here. Lennox tries to zone away the rest of the team. Going to go into Banish Toss. Curse that moment not yet coming out. Chief is going to get caught out front. There it is. Equalizer coming in as Fishing for Honor joins the fight after it's already over. And TD Shadow in a perfect spot now to force this Baron. But as you said earlier, a Nunu with Flash ready to go. Have to be careful of the steal.
Absolutely, and it the Baron Gold right here could either put Shadows that much further ahead or give Druid the lifeline that they need. So I agree, Shadows need to be very, very careful of a potential Nunu steal. And as this Baron is getting really much closer to the 2K threshold for Vinny, looking for it.
It's gonna be Beyblade in the back line, trying to make something
Oh
happen. It goes for Vinny.
no!
The blue team is gonna be the Moon. We secure it with simply the smite, and that could be end of story, or very close at least, for the side of Big Deck
No
Entourage Druid
way,
in this game.
dude. Nunu blast code, but didn't go over the wall.
Yeah. And
So
Beyblade,
close yet so far.
I,
Um,
I think. Did you see who hit the blast cone? Was it Nunu?
I I think it was Nunu.
Okay,
I
just
think that it's one of those things where you see the circle where you're going, and
mhm.
it looks perfect, so you click, but your character moves right before you click,
Yep.
because you're like in a movement trajectory. So
I,
you just don't quite get there.
it could have
And
also been.
Wukong,
Yeah,
yeah, go
if
ahead.
you saw, Beyblade was wrapping up around the back of Baron Pit without ultimate ready. It's possible that
Hmm.
the side of BDED saw it and was like, for Vinny had to use that blast cone preemptively just to make sure they didn't get locked down by the Nunu or by the Wukong, because they were like, I still have flash. I just need to make sure I don't get knocked up here so I can flash. So
Yeah.
maybe it's possible that that had something to do with it. And so 5 head plays coming out for Beyblade.
Yeah, and the dragons tied up now. Druid's advantage in their dragons is not working
Mm-hmm.
anymore, and Beyblade picking up the tier 2 tower top is gonna give him a lot of gold. But Quinn is looking for him, gonna be able to find him, maybe, maybe not.
We'll get there. Let's actually see if they can make something happen. Teleport is being channeled. It's going to be Crockpot
Oh,
joining the fight. There's a slicing metal drum ready to go. Chief is still way out front. Going to be caught and vaulting right into the open arms of Beyblade. Crockpot's going to secure the kill.
but he did use Flash
Yep.
just for the 1 in 6 Chief. So I think you had it without Flash, and not having Flash for whatever the cooldown is, 300 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
It might hurt them in the long run. But at this point, you're so far ahead. I don't even think you need the Flash just to win the fight.
Mm-hmm.
And Druid's struggling to get the side lane pressure just with the TP plays from Crockbot. Like this is like the second, maybe even third, I think second time that he's done it. It's rough. It's rough. And Jinx does have 2 items, so definitely scaling up in her own regard. But with this Baron pressure in 3 lanes at once, I don't think Druid has the wave clear to contest it.
Yep, and it's not just minions have to worry about. It's the champions, and no one matches anybody currently. I would say for the side of BDED going up against TD Shadow, they just have to invest fully in those possible picks, and they may find one here. Stravinia is going to engage onto Crockpot. If Blizzard's going to end early because the slicing Maelstrom stun. Chief trying to get them is going to be behind enemy lines channeled, which will likely secure the kill unless the Newton picks it up first. That's a big shutdown going over to the Quinn, but it's still the Quinn who's already way behind. So they're at the very least maybe even now, and you'd rather see it go to someone like the Jinx.
Yeah, and losing your inhibitor, definitely not good. Possibly even 2 inhibitors, right? Or at least the tower at a minimum. Do they go for more? We do see Nunu coming
Solar Flare catches 2. It's going to be Chief coming in. Super Mega Death Rocket will find some damage, but the Curse of the Sad Mummy is going to find 3 in the stun. Cyclone follows it up. Clone Man on a rampage with that Kraken Slayer. A double kill for the Sivir. This could be BDED being wiped off the map, and it will be quadra kill for Clone Man on the Sivir, and this looks like an end angle to me.
All right, guys, who took the Penta? It was Nunu or a Mumu. It was a Mumu.
Bruh.
Oh no, so sad. Anyway, that is going to be game 1 for TD Shadows. The team fight composition ultimately stealing the game with a sick team fight. Respect for the on-hit Sivir. That's going to be game 1.
Yep. And there, there's when I talk about disengage back in Champs, like there it is. You have honestly a perfect engage coming up from the Leona. That, like, what more could you ask for there? You have the Solar Flare going out, being followed up by the Nunu Snowball, but you use those, and then TD Shadow's like, okay, our turn to press R, and you have no response whatsoever.
And right, and I think ultimately that was just a last ditch effort by Druid. That was really their last chance of they had the potential, and I think they were just too far behind to actually utilize it. If they were even in gold, I think there was actually a world where Druid wins that fight. Just having the rumble and the wombo combo overall. I mean, obviously not as wombo combo as Shadows, right? But Shadows, they didn't have the Kennen there, and they may have been able to clinch the 5v4 otherwise. But with that being said, just a quick look at graphic, the damage charts. Rumble really high up there, highest in the game, and I think despite the game results, it doesn't look like, but I think Fishing for Honor played that game really well. He had such good pressure on this Kennen despite being melee into range, and definitely honorary MVP, I would say, for the side of Druid.
All right. So that's going to be it here for game 1 in the series. It will be TD Shadow leading it 1-0. Have to see if BDED can make the comeback coming up in this next game. I wouldn't be surprised if they do start making changes with that draft to try to address the issues that may have arisen in this game. We'll have to see after this quick break as we get into game 2. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the finals, the grand finals of Runeterra Academy's freshman class. We are here with TD Shadow out of Division 2 going up against Big Duck Entourage Druid from Division 1. TD Shadow lead the series 1-0 after an explosive game coming from what can only be described as an explosive team comp. Leading it now 1-0, it's Big Duck Entourage Druid who may be forced to adapt to TD Shadow's very coordinated team play. Left to see as we get into Champ Select. Once both teams are ready inside started. Okay, let's go.
Yep. And
Any changes you
yeah,
think we might be seeing come through in draft?
well, I hope Druid changes up their draft. I think it definitely did not plan out the way they did. You know, the Quinn falling behind early and the Jinx not able to scale safely in a lane where Leona was gone half the time. I think overall it had a good idea, but it just sort of fell apart. I think in the execution, and maybe they draft a little bit more consistent, something that doesn't sort of just I think crumble in the way that their last composition did. But with that being said, we do see a new mid laner for the side of TD Shadows. See the Dark filling in for Carpot. I think Carpot you said was the sub last game. So See the Dark is the primary mid laner jumping into his rightful spot on the team. And we'll see what he brings to the table. The Kennen last game was definitely very, very solid from Crockpot. So I'm curious what See the Dark brings to this draft.
Yep. Interesting call. You know, like if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And especially because TD Shadow are leading, leading the series. So it's not often to see a sub come out from the team that just won the game. But maybe it could be. Maybe they thought they were taking a risk with that first game. With the draft they were going for, BDED, not unable to counter it. But now they're thinking maybe they can. Maybe we're going to see the bans come out that we don't want to come out. Maybe Kennen is banned or something. And so they're thinking it's certainly possible that we are going to take a fully different approach to this next game. And so it's certainly possible that they're saying, hey, this mid laner's playstyle fits that approach better. Getting into picks and bans now. Anivia, once again, banned away by the side of TG Shadow.
Absolutely, and I don't think it's a surprise. We saw how well we saw how well Fishing for Honor was playing on the Rumble. So if he's just as good as Anivia as he was on that Rumble, or even better, that's definitely a ban you do not want. That's a champion you do not want to see in your game. Anivia is so strong at zoning control and consistent damage that it can be really, really brutal in those 5v5 team fights. And I'm glad to see the Amumu banned out from Druid. They recognize that the Amumu had so much pressure early game, even more so than the Nunu did, and they do not want to be first picked again by TD Shadows.
Yep. At least, mitigate at least a portion of that possible wombo combo if they do feel like going for it again. And, this Anivia ban, it's strange in a way. But when you think about it, we gave accolades to Fishing for Honor that last game, who was the mid laner. So it was probably thinking, make sure that their mid laner, who we saw perform well last game, try to neutralize them as much as possible. But speaking of mid laners and neutralizing, Yasuo getting through the ban first phase this time, insta locked in for the side of TD Shadow.
Yeah, and you dropped the ban. Yasuo Yone not banned out by Druid. TD Shadows are like, oh, you slipped up. We're gonna grab it real quick. Thank you very much. And BDE Druid snapping up the Malphite, saying no wombo combo for you. Although there's still so many options for the TD Shadows. There's so many options. You can do it in support with something like a Rakan or an Alistar. You could do it in jungle with a Diana. Or I guess you could pick Yasuo Yone if you wanted to be like ultra meme spicy. Wombo, Dombo, brothers in crime sort of combination. We'll see what TD Shadows decide to bring out. I think the Diana is probably their best option unless you do something with the support, which is also very strong as well.
I honestly would love to see Jarvan picked for the side of TD Shadow because that is Lanix. I remember catching one of TD Shadow's games or one of their series like a couple weeks back, maybe last week. And Lanix Jarvan was, oh, it wasn't last week because I wasn't casting last week. Sorry about that. At least a couple weeks ago. But Lanix Jarvan was truly something to behold. And then at the very least, boom, you got a knock up. Pairs well with the Yasuo. Flag and drag into a Cataclysm, followed by Last Breath. And you got, practically a perfect setup for Yasuo. It's Thunderdome with the whole team locked in there with a Jarvan and a Yasuo. That's something you not want to go up against. Ashe locked in. I feel obligated to say it. Should have banned Ashe.
Yeah, and I mean that's the thing about teams like TD Shadows, where there's just so many picks that you need to ban, and you only have so many ban slots, right? So you really got to decide what is the worst against your particular composition. And I do like that BDE Druid are opting for the Jinx again, this time with the Braum. I think they definitely have the potential. I think the Jinx played well last game. The only thing was that, Prevail was kind of just left to their own devices in the bot lane, and it just, against, what was it? It was like a Silver Nautilus, right? It's not going to end well. I mean, even I can see where that's going. If you're not picking Ezreal, it's never going to go well for you. But with the second round of bans coming through, we see the same mid laners, except Corki Galio banned out by Druid this time, and same mid laners banned out by TDS. They don't want Fishing for Honor anywhere near his comfort picks, but we do see Veigar locked in. So the tiny scaler himself, and yes, that was a short joke, Veigar. Deal with it. Either way, we'll see how TD Shadows responds. I do think Veigar is counter pickable. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I mean, I'm no mid lane expert myself, but I would expect him to be pretty easily counterable, or at least in the jungle, right? If you pick something, Akali, that makes sense. I feel like that's if Veigar like misplaces his cage, I feel like Akali can just pop. You're dead.
Yep.
And especially with the recent passive buffs, it should be even easier for Akali to do that.
Now, honestly, I'm still kind of up in the air as to whether it's Yasuo, Akali are being like the flexibility there. We've seen you've seen Akali top, we've seen Yasuo mid. For me, I'm because we saw the Yasuo locked in, and then we still saw a Corki and Galio ban. So maybe BDED know that this Yasuo is likely going top.
It's you probably don't want the Yasuo top, because then you have Malphite against the Yasuo top in a Jarvan jungle. Malphite just stacks some early armor, and then all of a sudden you have an unkillable top laner. So I would hopefully expect they call it to be top, just to deny the Malphite from being able to free stack armor. That being said, we do have, I was going to say that I don't think the Yasuo and Nautilus by themselves were a good enough combo, because Nautilus is really just solo knockups, and Yasuo is really about that, 5-man knockup. But that, that's what the Jarvan's for. I like that they picked it up last second. Not quite as consistent as the Diana is, but, Flag and Drag can get you just as good of a combination, especially combined with the Cataclysm. You can get so much damage in such a short time, along with the Ashe in the back line. But for the side of Big Duck Entourage, Druid, Nocturne picked up from the end. So this Ashe, gotta watch out. Obviously, Nocturne gonna be zeroing in on the Ashe, probably in the back line, while Malphite deals with this Yasuo, whoever he ends up being.
Yep. And, hey, there's a Jarvan. I said I want to see it because it's Lanix.
Yasuo,
I called it. I can say that.
Yes, you did.
But it's I would say more of I mean, you're never gonna find literally a mirror matchup when it comes to draft and everything. But I would say here it's certainly not as black and white when it comes to game approach as it was last game.
Absolutely, yeah. I think both teams have. I mean, they both have dive potential. They both have peel potential. They both have scaling potential. And overall, I think it really comes down to. Actually, I do think that TDS has the early pressure advantage just with this Jarvan, maybe an Akali roam, while BDE Druid are really playing for their level 6, right? They have Nocturne, Malphite, Jinx, Braum, Veigar. Like you're not playing for the early game when you draft that type of comp, but you're also not drafting something that can easily fall behind, like last game. So I think Druid, if they can, take a slower early game than last game, hopefully not fall too far behind, then they can get their level sixes, make plays. Nocturne can do some crazy things. Vagar stacking up in the mid lane, and I think the game can go much better for them. On the side of Shadows, right, you do have a really strong comp, right? Having the Wombo combo always gives you some sort of advantage over the enemy team. Like just Yasuo and Jarvan's existence gives you a sort of an edge in what could be close 5v5 comps. And I'll say it again, you need to watch out for these ADCs in the bot lane, right? They're both
Yep.
very highly ranked. They're both on hyper carry ADCs. They both have teams that can play around them very, very well. Who's going to get the early lead? And we just have to wait and see who, support diff, maybe. I don't know.
Yep. I would say that I really like the possibility of disengage, counter engage coming out from the side of BDED, which is something that naturally I had an issue with them when it comes to that last game. Sorry, my cord's just tangled up right now. Okay, we're good. Okay, we have some, a pretty good engage coming out from the side of TD Shadow with the Nautilus, with the Ash Arrow, with Yasuo, Jarvan. But at the same time, we have Braum, known for being very good at peeling. We have a Vagar, Nocturne, Malphite, and TD Shadow all kind of go in. BDED just kind of respond. And suddenly the map goes dark. You have a cage that you need to watch out for when the map is dark. You have a Malphite who is now AWOL because the map is dark. And it's just, I can see how TD Shadow, I think, can very easily overstep their boundaries in these team fights if they're not careful. They can't be like last game. Even if they weren't let's just say the team comps go head to head on equal footing last game, TD Shadow are still in a position where they can just kind of say Leroy Jenkins, press R, and everybody runs in. Here, I do not believe that is a possibility. They will have to space better in these fights, take things, if not slowly, at least with more caution going up against this fight. But at the same time, that means that these two teams are going to have to play big brain on the Rift, and that's something that, it's not brain dead, press R, and nothing against people who love pressing R or the team comp TD Shadow brought last game, but at least some complexity to their approaches to these fights.
Absolutely. And, going into the game, we do see it is currently Beyblade on the Yasuo versus Chief on the Malphite. What I'm wondering is, are they going to lane swap with See the Dark on the Kali going top against the Malphite? I think I want them to do that, just to prevent this Malphite from having an easier lane. Just because, Malphite, he has the E attack speed slow, he has the bonus armor from W. It's going to be really hard for Jarvan Yasuo to make a play onto the Malphite. And overall, I think it's rougher for them in the long run if they opt for that route instead of having, the Akali top. It's a lot easier for Akali, I guess, to poke the Malphite and to play around his armor. And it just punishes the Malphite a lot more, I believe, and denies him having, because Malphite into an AD top, it's rough. It can be really, really rough, especially when you're auto attack based, right? Malphite just rushes, rated steel caps, and all of a sudden you're doing negative damage, right? You can't have a break shield, right? You're sitting there autoing him, and he's just laughing, twirling his body, saying "You will lose," and it hurts. It hurts your soul a little bit on the inside. That being said, we should be keeping regular track of Vagar, tracking his stats, seeing how many stacks he's getting. Hopefully a decent. I actually don't know what the decent stack amount is for Vagar, but if he gets 1,000 AP, I'll be happy at some point. But I think the real question is, does Druid go for an invade with the Braum? And I think the answer is no.
Okay. Well, time will tell. Maybe Vagar goes cage first to adapt to that. But we'll have to see.
Big grade.
As we are loading into the Rift very soon, this is game 2 of this best of 5 coming at you in the grand finals between TD Shadow and Big Duck Entourage Druid. We got, judging from draft, a very spicy game coming up. So be sure to not click out of that browser and stick with us. So we'll get it to you right after this quick break. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Summoner's Rift for Game 2 of the Freshman Class Grand Finals first place match here in Runeterra Academy, hosted by Runeterra Academy, however you want to put it. Four-man top for the side of Big Duck Entourage Druid. Make that 5 as Vinny is joining. And good news for my fellow caster, We Wizard. This is an Akali being sent to the top lane. You called it.
Yes. Yes.
Let's see, however, if
It's a 5-man invade, okay. I mean,
Braum
Druid's
Q,
level 1
Braum
is
check.
really bad, but you have the slow, you have the Braum Q,
There's
you force the flash.
okay, we take those.
It's a win.
Yep.
Somehow. Now, do we see Vision put down on the blue buff from Shadows? Come on. Walk over, drop a ward. No? Okay. Never mind. Okay, maybe Nautilus is Nautilus. There you go. Okay.
So yeah, Malphite's mid.
Yeah, so I was saying the 2000 IQ played from Druid would be to put the Vagar top in response, and they did. So I was right in both senses. And I was also right, and I don't care what chat says, that Dream Yasuo is better than Truth Yasuo, and you can fight me on that because I will fight you. Purple is just better. It's just so
It
good.
depends on what the purple is being paired with. I don't want to make an objective call between purple and yellow, but you know, it's all about the color combo.
I guess, but I don't know. I just whenever I look at those threads, like which one's better, they all say truth, and I'm like, no, stop. And look, AD jungle, AD mid. Malphite has the time of his life. He just shrugged off that level 2 invade. I didn't even notice it was happening. I was so distracted, and it didn't even matter because nothing happened.
So, yeah, so
Um,
Lennox literally just walked in the mid lane and lost about
why are
75.
you leaving your
You
AC
are,
to
yeah, what is
die?
going on? Prevails! A flash out, but Ignite is going to
What?
be an auto text enough. Should have banned Ashe. I love this.
But what is this Braum?
Them is getting chipped away as
Am
well.
I wrong? He literally just left his Jinx to die. He didn't have
Exhaust
a
was not
shield or
used.
anything. Yeah, he could have done. Oh my god!
Um, all right.
Guys,
Uh,
please.
I heard.
I
Yep, I
can't
just heard a
take
bunch
it.
of questions about things. Gotta do them the
I
right.
can't. I can't take it. Okay. Alright.
All right.
Okay.
So first blood goes to the side of TD Shadow, but is rather quickly and strangely answered by the side of Big Dick Entourage Druid up in the top lane. Or should I say it was answered by TD Shadow's own top laner. Uh,
Um,
and so things are even up.
right. All right. Both teams made a mistake. It's got to stop now. All right. This
Yep.
is the finals. We're not allowed to. We're not allowed to take 5 turret shots and then die. That's illegal. But, Veigar just chilling under turret, stacking it up. I wonder. There's no way Jarvan goes for a top play here. It doesn't
No,
end
not
well.
when lane is pushed like this, no.
Yeah, I agree. And Nocturne looking for the scuttle. It's gonna be gone. Does he get the kill though?
We'll get the full channel of the fear. Gonna stay on top now. It's Lennox in trouble, forced to flag and drag to get out of there. No mid laner to offer them support, but it's not needed. Anyway,
Yeah.
safe and sound.
All right, and Ash with the double long sword advantage. That's pretty big. That's
Yep.
20 AD right there.
Mm-hmm.
And
there's a new trench line going out. It's going to catch Tem will very quickly hand on to the AC Beyblade in the mid lane as Chief low, but has backed. Chief has not yet backed. So did blow flash for something. I'm not exactly sure what.
yeah, and there's the Ash perma slow. Ouchie, ouchie. I just read a comment in chat. If both teams accidentally win trade each other, is there actually anything wrong? Oh god! All right.
Oh boy.
Hopefully the win trading stops.
Yeah, see
and
the
we get a
Dark is tanking
serious game too.
100 damage from minions right now.
Yeah, I mean, just look at that chunk. Oh my! Is this gonna be the second soul? He's out of mana though.
Yep. No mana. All right. So taking stock of the situation, unsurprisingly, I would say Beyblade has a respectable CS lead in the mid lane going up against that Malphite.
And it's I think it's expected
Yeah.
that he did get ganked and he had to burn flash, so he is going to be a bit behind. But he comes back with the Bramble Vest, very respectable. But overall, I do want to see Shadows going for this first Infernal Dragon, getting the Dragon lead while we know Druid is they're scaling, right? They're trying to scale, and yes, they did get an early kill into the Veigar, but he's top lane, right? So this means that you can pretty safely go for this dragon, right? Malphite's pretty useful, still level 5, he's not level 6. And even on Vision, there's no counterplay. The best Nocturne can do, he can go into Lennox topside and take away a Grump, maybe a Wolf, but hooks land on the
Not
Peruvial.
leaving Prevail all alone at the very least this time, blocking those auto attacks with the shield.
Exactly.
Still, these trades are heavily in favor of the TD Shadow bot lane.
Yeah, and oh my god. Okay,
the flash. With the flash perfect execution. First channel, there is no mana on Fishing for Honor. However, the cage will buy some time. Second cast, not coming quite yet, as 4 Vinny will join the fight up in the top lane. Action in the mid lane as well. Chief will bring Beyblade low. Now it's See the Dark just trying to get out of there alive. For Vinny staying on top, the Dust Blade Trail has fallen, so they do not get that enhanced boost. Even now, let's hear on Vision. They know that Jarvan has joined them in the top lane. Jarvan does not have level 6.
This camera is taking us on a magical journey.
Yeah,
Anyway, we just saw 3 separate fights, and none of them. Oh, Flash R. Veigar. Wait, he does not flash. Oh.
It doesn't have mana either. Not really.
Yeah, that's true. So sad.
There's going to be R in the mid lane. Chief is going to go in. I'm not sure if that caught Beyblade. Lennox just kind of walks in.
No, it didn't. He dashed away.
Nice.
Guys, right. I can't handle it. So I'm going to lose it. All right.
all the cards
Deep
are on the table.
breaths. Deep
Both
breaths.
teams, though they have both been placed on the table and sometimes dropped out of their hands by accident. So things are certainly shaping up to be a topsy-turvy game. Bramble Vest completed for Chief in the mid lane, so Beyblade
Oh yeah.
is not going to
He's full
be
build.
as good. Yeah. Yep, Malphite full build.
um,
Easy clap.
anyway, Yasuo completed his Berserker Greaves, so he's also full build. So we have two full build mid laners. Very impressive. And overall, this game slowed down a little bit. We saw a lot of a lot of interesting plays going on. Emphasis on the int in the first 5 minutes, and now teams are taking a little slower. We have Rift Herald spawning in 4 seconds,
Mhm.
and with Nocturne heading topside level 5, looks like he's going to be level 6 off of his topside camps. Maybe looking for a play onto See the Dark. Right, we saw her burn Flash
Mhm.
in the earlier engage, so maybe for Vinny and Fishing for Honor can make something happen on See the Dark topside.
Yep. I think everybody has nope. Yeah, Forvini is yet to hit level 6. Same with the bot lane of
Right?
TD
He
Shadow.
gets it off this.
Oh,
Yeah,
there we go.
he just
So
does it.
there's perfect execution being channeled once again.
And
There's
here's
going to
a
be Shuriken Flip
volley.
going in, but the second cast going to be used just to get out of tower range. Chief is forced to back away there in the middle lane, as Beyblade will
Yeah.
blow Flash and Ultimate to no avail. It's
Yep.
just everybody just wet noodle slapping each other in the face right now.
For sure. And it. I guess Lennox showing mid does get him the push. He gets 2 turret plates onto Beyblade, which it's not a bad thing, I don't think.
Mm-hmm.
But Chief is just further far behind in CS and experience. He just lost like
Now he's full
three
build. He got a
waves.
steel cap. Okay, here comes Forvini going in. Going to get the paranoia and the full
Wow!
free channel. It's be a
Wow!
kill onto Beyblade.
Yeah, that was. Oh
That's not going to be
man!
good, as ADC will get caught out by a Dredgeline, Enchanted Crystal Arrow, and the depth charge. Brandon needs no help that time. And it's going to be Nautilus getting the kill, however, not the Ash.
Yeah, Tiberi. Uh-oh. He could have blocked it, right? And when you're with the with a Jinx like that, you really got to be blocking those hooks.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're a Braum with Flash Exhaust, and I think you would much rather get hooked than your heelless Jinx. Either way, Pruvial even further, very very far behind, two deaths. I guess decent CS considering, but you're still 20 down your lane opponent,
Mm-hmm.
and just the CS advantages along with the 2 kills. Like there's 2 kills to both teams, right?
Yep.
But the CS advantage that TD Shadows has, we've seen all in after this.
Malphite doesn't care about that Yasuo.
Woo!
You can do whatever you
Dead.
want.
Oh,
Ooh,
wind wall.
nice.
Clutch wind wall. Based wind wall.
So yeah, that's Yasuo going all in, landing their full combo, and basically getting solo killed by the Malphite. So that's how this
Oh,
mid lane will
the
continue.
shield got popped too by
Yep.
the corrupting potion.
All right. There's another perfect execution, but unsurprisingly, Fishing for Honor just has to press E, and Akali has no option to go back in.
We do see for Vinny going for this Rift Herald, and with Lennox on the bot side, it's going to definitely go over to him. The question is, whose side are going for the dragon for sure? And that being said, it's going to be an Ocean or Mountain Soul. I think both Souls are, I would say, pretty good for both of these teams. They both have decent burst potential, and they also have pretty decent extended damage potential. So it is going to be an Ocean Soul. And with 2 dragons over the TD Shadows, we see the game sort of flipped compared to last time, right? Last time we saw Druid had the 2 dragon advantage. Ultimately, it didn't matter, right? They still, dragons doesn't help when you're 5k gold behind.
Yep.
And in this case, Shadows is still ahead in gold, and they have the dragon advantage. We do see a lane swap, actually, and Vagar is heading mid, so maybe they're swapping again, and Flash, for real.
Yep. Depth charge expended as perfect execution is used in the mid lane, as well as Lennox going in with the flag and dry. Cataclysms to come out later to keep Fishing for Honor in place, but a paranoia being channeled by Forvini joining the fight. Primordial Burst will be used, will secure the kill against Lennox by Fishing for Honor. And so that engage is turned on its head, and it's 1 kill in favor of BDE.
Yeah, absolutely. And with that paranoia coming in, it's less to Lennox, he's like, I'm not stuck in here with you. You're stuck in here with me. Gonna be taking him down. And
Did you
Veigar
see?
2 and
Did you
0.
see that?
See what? Was there
So I know you don't want to. I know you don't want Veigar getting stacks by landing his W on champions, but I don't think that's worth a flesh. In the meantime, for
Oh,
Vinny up in the top side river, perfect execution coming out, but a beautiful cage is going to buy some time and space for the jungler as we make a death rock, and a beautiful stun is going to land on to see the dark. Will there be a follow up for Vinny? Wants it, flashes forward, tries to secure the kill, but it will be enough. Beyblade just trying to get out of there alive now, but Lennox is going to try to keep it under wraps. It will be the kill going over to the Jarvan. Cage will come out. Unstoppable force will miss. There's the follow-up with the last whisper onto Chief. It's 2 kills, the Jarvan and the Veigar going down. Beyblade is trying to get out of there alive now. Steel Tempest, third cast will land. It's a knock-up, trying to buy some time. The Glacial Fissure is going to come out.
All right.
But, bro, this is like it's the grand finals. Why does this look like, goodness.
Yeah, and it's some interesting plays continuing to be made. Still 5 for 5. TD Shadows has the gold lead, just based on having the CS advantage in most of their lanes. You see how many stacks is stacks on Viger. He has 104 stacks, so 104 ability power. In total, he has 216 ability power at this moment. He does have the Everfrost completed. We do see Strybreaker as well for Vinny. And on the side of Shadows, Gore Drinker on Lennox, and Kraken Slayer on the Ash. So, Mythic's starting to flow through. And Veigar back in the mid lane against the Akali. Ouch, that Q hurt. One more stack.
All right. Has Malphite completed Mythic? No, they have not. I think I think once Malphite completes Mythic, that's gonna make things.
I mean, when you go plated Steel Cut Scramble Vest, you're gonna complete your Mythic really late.
True.
At the cost of having so much armor, your opponent just wants to leave your lane and go mid.
Yep.
That is what Beyblade is doing at the moment. Just walking around, clearing some vision. Speaking of vision, we do see pretty great vision control in the river and around the map from Druid. Shadows has some vision as well, but it's not as deep and not as wide coverage. I mean, on the map, we already see
basically a flank coming out from Randy's up in the bot lane, but we have Rumble in jungle. It's going to be Beyblade falling to Fishing for Honor, but it's going to be the ADC for the side of BDE falling in the bot lane to Clone Man 54. A 1-for-1 cross map.
Poor Prevail. He dies again.
And that's, and it's like, I don't think we've really said it, but it is absolutely horrible for the team that Jinx is in this current situation. We really emphasize that as much as it needs to be emphasized. This Jinx is 0-3-1, 98 CS compared to a Kraken Slayer completed Ash 135 CS.
I mean, when you're down 40 CS, that's not insignificant, right? A kill by itself, in gold value, is worth like 15 CS, and that is not including the XP advantage, right? Cloudman is level 9 versus Privil's level 8, and levels by themselves give you hundreds of gold of experience of stats, right? Just by themselves.
Yep.
So it's a little misleading, right? Just the numbers themselves, because Ash might as well be like 7-0 with even CS right? Like it's really crazy how ahead this Ash is at the moment, especially when you have the mythic advantage. And with potential soul point for the side of Shadows, I'm curious how this fight is going to play out. We do have a 4-1 Veigar, so they're not behind necessarily. They have a very well fed Veigar and Nocturne. So, but then again, Jarvan is in the pit.
Yeah, but they know. Let's go in. Cage has already been used. That's not good. Jarvan with so much damage coming through with the flag and drag, and the Cataclysm being used. It's going to be challenged. Fishing for Honor is going to find the kill, and he's just free reign once that Cage was used earlier in the fight for the side of TD Shadows. But it's much more even coming out than I thought it would be. A 3-for-3 with everybody alive low.
That was a 4v5. I mean, Yasuo wasn't even there. He did a bit TP. I mean, that is he rage splitting? Like, come on. Like, I know you're against the Malphite, but like,
well, I mean,
I guess it didn't matter in the end. Like, you stole the dragon and you
Yeah.
got an even fight. But imagine if he was there when Jarvan flag and dragged 4 people, right? Like
Mhm.
it's literally just an ace. You just ace them.
Yeah. What?
And
Oh.
Beyblade maybe even's gonna die here just
Yep.
because
Tends to
he's
join the
been.
fight. Channel
Well, you have the
being
TP.
teleport being channeled. There's some nice damage coming out from the ultimate. Gonna flash forward, but the Chief completely shutting them down. Grom secures the kill. And see in the dark will be forced to back away. But here's my thoughts on that Yasuo thing. So Yasuo doesn't even join the fight because they took that tier 1 turret top lane as Dragon was kind of first getting started. And it's like, even if the side of BDED takes that dragon, okay, that's their first dragon. You're sitting on 2 dragons already. And now we just took the second turret up there in the top lane. So I think it was kind of
I
a
mean,
minor win, major win situation for them. You know, you
I
trade 1
it's
dragon for turret, but you got the dragon and 2 turrets now. So
I don't disagree with you, but I think it's less about the dragon and more about the fight, right? Because
okay,
having the fight 3 for 3 means that yes, Druid lost the dragon, but the fight was not necessarily bad, right? You got the shutdown on the Ash. You got I think that was it, but you still get 2 other kills for free, pretty much, and a shutdown. When realistically, that fight should have been 100% Shadows winning. Like if
mm-hmm.
Yasuo TPs, no one on Shadows dies because it's the Yasuo Wombo combo with the Dragon Flag is just too strong.
Mm-hmm.
And that being said, right, you do have the soul points. You can trade it for Baron in a minute and a half if you really wanted to. I don't know why Yasuo is playing so
Yeah,
aggressive on this
Beyblade
on this
seems to
Malphite
think they can
fight.
do something to this champion right now. There's gonna be the ultimate champion at the very least. Wish you
Can
will
he?
pop. Maybe
Wait,
they
he
can.
can.
Beyblade's gonna get the solo kill.
He got the the Zeal power spike. Respect. I like it.
But
But
now it's gonna be
here comes
Fafiti joining the
Vinny.
fight, despite coming out. But Beyblade's still dishing out the damage. It will not be enough. Nocturne will get the kill, and Chief gets the assist.
And I'm a little surprised Beyblade won it. I think it may be because he just finished Shield Bow and he has the
Mm-hmm.
Zeal, so he has I think 100% crit chance. Yeah, he definitely has 100%. So he deals damage, and
Yep,
despite the Frostfire, Plated Steel Cap, Bramble Vest, he hurts.
that he does. And
And
you know
that
that.
being said, poor
Oh
Jinx,
goodness.
poor Jinx.
That's going to be a full CC chain landing. Fishing for honor. Don't flash for this. Thank you. At very least, might get this follow-up kill onto Brandon. Needs help. No help will arrive. Donate it to the Vagar, please, and thank you.
Is
Eventually,
he gonna die?
there we go.
Okay. Okay. Oh man, I was like, just use the primordial burst. Like, I know you're trying to save it. In the end, it doesn't matter. But
Mhm.
I was like, just if he gets away, you're gonna wish you used it. All right. Yeah, I definitely think that this bot lane is. I mean, Prevail is just not having a good time. I
Yep.
don't want to say it's his fault. I think it's a combination between um, the Brahms neglect and just no, just he doesn't even have mythic yet. I mean, like Nautilus has more gold than the Jinx does, and it's sad. Meanwhile,
Hello,
Yasuo is
Yasuo.
gonna
I what is it?
say
A comment right here.
goodbye. You
Beyblade
fools!
died.
He's halfway to his 10 death power spike.
Oh, Monka W. All right. Dragon's coming up in just about 30 seconds. Baron is up. Let's see how TD Shadow want to play this. Like how much value do you think they put on Dragon Soul here as opposed to maybe forcing a Baron Dragon trade?
I mean, you know the saying that Baron is temporary, but Soul is eternal.
Yeah.
It's true. I mean,
Okay.
getting the Soul is really big, but you should only do that if you can guarantee that you're not gonna throw the Elder fight.
There's
And
Paranoia going in, but there's
this
zero
Ash,
follow-up. That is not what you like to see. Chief into the backline with the unstoppable force, but it's going to be answered by Lennox in their own backline. Akali will fall down up in the top lane all alone. Heaven's just trying to get out of there alive. Jinx on top of own man. We'll find the kill. There's the Malphite. But now
Malphite
6
Gaming.
on one. Chief just trying to get out of there, but it's Beyblade, and we know what Beyblade can do to the Malphite at this point in the game. Would be very surprised
Oh,
if they
he's
get out of
speedy!
there.
He's speedy!
But no flash, no ultimate, and
I think he's out.
no, he gets out of there.
Another
Unless
Q, maybe?
Knowledge has flash, but they are going to flash for this.
Oh!
Okay. That's just BM.
Uh-oh, they started the dragon.
Lennox.
Nocturne
Okay,
is up. Nocturne is alive.
true.
He's walking.
Paranoia will be up very soon. Oh, maybe not soon enough. Okay, Lennox is
But
going to
do
go
they get it
in.
before the
Out
burst?
there, all locked in there. Some nice damage onto Beyblade and support. Everross going to come out. Dragon is very low.
Reset.
Dragon's going to catch onto the Braum. See the Dark join the fight as
Oh,
well as the Akali looking to make something happen. This time, Tem very low. Flash forward by Beyblade. Going to get the kill. The Vagar falls as well. And now things are really starting to come up. TD Shadow.
yeah.
As a Enchantress arrow land, a flash forward by See the Dark going in with the perfect execution for Vinny's going to get finished off by the Akali right here. I'm calling it. Yes. 16-14 now the scoreline. Relatively even, but that does not tell the whole story.
Yep, and with the Rift Herald in the bot lane, they do have the Ocean Soul, so they can go for the Baron anytime they'd like. Now, how does Druid get back into this game? Obviously, it's this Elder Dragon coming up in 5 minutes, right? They can't really contest the Elder Dragon, or sorry, they can't contest the Baron, and they don't really have the wave clear to even contest this mid lane push without Baron. Honestly, I mean this Jinx is just he still doesn't have Mythic. Braum has Mythic. For Christ's sake, Braum has Mythic, and Jinx doesn't. It's just so sad. Like I know that their Mythics are cheaper, but like, come on, it's really brutal. I mean,
Yep.
yeah, I mean, just looking at the gold, Nautilus still has like a 400 gold lead on the Jinx, and it's just, it sucks. Can he steal it? Oh! It was close. It was really close.
The Vagar damage is respectable, but I
Yeah, he's
wouldn't
up to
rely.
203 stacks. 203
I would not
stacks,
rely on a
respectable.
Vagar against a
Yeah.
team comp like this.
I mean, you can't. You can't. There's just so much, like, Akali, Jarvan, Yasuo, not like, there's just so much dive and CC that even with Zhonya's, it's just not enough. And I guess his only hope is, getting death cap as soon as possible. Looks like he's gonna go for. I guess he's probably going for a void staff instead, which probably makes sense. I mean, there's very minimal. I mean, hey, look, Jinx just got her first item, guys, and meanwhile Nautilus has 2 items. Oh
Goodness.
my god!
And an Abyssal Mask as well. So when
Yeah, it's Abyssal Mask is such a good tank item. I think honestly, I find it really sad that they're removing it, just because it gives champs like Nautilus the ability to essentially quote unquote deal damage, in the effect that you buff up your team's damage, right? And by 50%, not an insubstantial amount. And when you have AoE knockups like his ultimate, oh, he's dead.
that was a questionable use of the shuriken flip there. Should have been a little bit longer. Primordial Burst will not find the kill, but for Vinny will finish it off just a second later. Mid lane inhib turret going to fall here for the side of BDE. And TD Shadow are going to likely take this inhibitor as well. Unstoppable Force is not ready to go for a possible engage. Lennox out in the front lines. Does he want to go in? Not quite yet. Going to get stunned up by that Braum passive. Baroned up minions walking down the mid lane, but TD Shadow as a team will not follow suit.
Yeah, and Vega, Veigi.
Oh, Fishing for Honor, and this is the Vagar going down, which is not good for that team. Fight Glacial Fisher is going to come out very late, not going to catch anyone in the knockup. Lennox poking over the wall, but no flag to drag, and it will not be an engage for the time being.
Yeah, and that being said, the last breath was used on a pretty guaranteed kill, so the Rumble combo is a significantly weaker, not having the Yasuo follow-up. But, when you have supers pushing mid and you're taking bot inhib, it doesn't really matter. When you're 10k gold ahead, literally 10k gold ahead.
All right. There's going to be 2 inhibitors falling, and now TD Shadow have the entirety of the map to work with, as the side of BDED are on minion duty. And it's probably to me like place Envision down around this Elder, and then full reset, and we'll just bide our time till then.
Yeah, and that's not a fight you want, Vinny.
Nope. See, the Dark Vision go over, however.
Too.
There's
That
going to
is
be a CC chain and
like
Primordial Burst.
okay. Yes, you die, but Vinny's dead.
Yep.
Actually, it doesn't matter
Well,
too
yeah.
much because he's going to be up for Elder, but you get the Flash, and that's the big thing, right? That denies a potential Flash steal, and I think overall it's just a worthy trade
Mm-hmm.
because now it's going to be even harder for Druid to clear these super waves, and if they can't push out these waves, like their wave clear already is really bad. I mean, Jinx doesn't have the or whatever it's called, the bow or the hurricane
Ruden's Hurricane.
Runon's, there you go. The Runon's hurricane help with the wave clear. So it's really just Vagar, I guess.
I,
Stacking. I mean, he's
yep.
stacking, but I don't think it's gonna be enough. He's got 229 stacks, 467 ability power. He's a truck,
Yeah.
but he's a squishy truck. And against a team like Shadows, with especially with Ocean Soul, it's going to be really really tough for Druid to find their mark.
Mm-hmm. Jinx rockets were doing 225 damage to super minions on a crit. So, yeah, prevail in a less than satisfying spot, to say the very least here, is also having to pay the executioner's tax for the team. With that, Grievous Wounds come in and try to keep that Yasuo down. Yasuo did build Wit's End. I called it. Um,
I mean, when your biggest threat is Vagar Malphite,
They were
and
sitting on this now. Well, time. Let's go in with the flag and drag and the Cataclysm to follow up. A unstoppable force is going to be too little too late in the team fight. A nice Vigor Cage to catch a few. There's a perimeter burst, but it's not even going to secure a kill. See the Dark going to find the kill on to prevail here. Fishing for honor, going to be finished off by the Ash. It's a clean ace. 5-4-0. TD Shadow, most likely now, just taking their trip to victory lane.
yep, and that is going to be game number 2. Shadows takes the second one for a commanding 2-0 lead. And ending off with a 13K gold lead. Sheesh. Druid were not, I think their comp was better. They got the early, they had not an early lead, I would say, an early stalemate. But I think that the bot lane was just snowballed too far too fast. Pruvial
Yep.
left. I mean, I need to watch it again to know exactly where the quote unquote fault lies. I think it's a mixture of just early game positioning. I think they got caught out by an early level 2 from Shadows,
Mm-hmm.
and after that, Pruvo was just left alone in the lane. 0-6. Just I mean, there's nothing you can do. ADC 2021 something something. And but once again, fishing for honor, topping the damage charts. That shows us the potential is there. Druid, they have a lane to play around, and the problem is they're just not doing it. They're not playing well. I mean, look, Jinx did less damage than the Nautilus did, and had less items and gold than the Nautilus did. And it's really, really painful to see this from Druid, and they really need to draft something, maybe an Ezreal, just to have the
Mm-hmm.
safety in lane, or draft something like, I don't know, Caitlyn Zyra, just something that has so much damage that you just can't lose the lane. But they need to change something up because they are 2-0, and if they lose another one, they are out.
Yep. It's just, yeah. Vagar and a Jinx, you're playing for a late game, but you need. And he picked a Malphite into the Yas, but what does that mean? Malphite just kind of stands there against the Yas and doesn't do anything. But I would have loved to see maybe for Vinny pushing to actually get something done in that early game when the Jinx and Vagar are not as potent. Unfortunately, wasn't seem to be the case, and I believe they paid the price for it. We'll have to see if they pay the ultimate price as we get into game 3 and possibly series and grand finals point for the side of TD Shadow. Have to see if they can break the Cinderella story in the making once and for all as we get back into the series right after this quick break. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the grand finals of Runeterra Academy's freshman class. We are here joining Big Duck Entourage Druids up against the wall, 4th seed of Division 1, going up against TD Shadow, 2nd seed of Division 2, who are currently in the driver's seat, leading this best of 5 2-0. If they can take this next game, they win it all. Big Duck Entourage Druid will have to do what they can to ensure they can extend this game to the full 5 games and take the reverse sweep. We are loading into Champ Selector right now as I speak. It has not yet quite started. But after seeing that last game, 2 more balanced compositions coming out from both sides. We still saw TD Shadow take it. So Druid, it seems like it's more than just draft they need to change now.
Yeah, it is. It's rough, right? I mean, as I was saying at the end of the last game, we see the potential from Druid, right? They need to play around fishing for honor. I mean, he's been topping the damage charts both games by far, right? It's not even close, despite losing both games, right? That is an impressive accomplishment, and we have been seeing some struggle in the bot lane as well from the side of Druid. Prevail and Temerare are just something's missing, right? And they need to sort it out. Otherwise, they are going to be failing our class, and nobody wants that. It's either you got to draft something safer or you got to just not roam as much because it's just getting your mythic item at like 20 minutes. It's unacceptable. I mean, it's it's crazy. I mean, it's unbelievable. I'm speechless. That being said, we are looking into the draft starting, and I'm curious, how are Big Doug Entourage Druid going to change up their bans? Right, they didn't ban the Yasuo Yone last game, and the Yasuo was picked. It wasn't the hard carry that I was looking for because I think the Malphite did a really good job at just preventing it from playing well. But at the end of the day, he really just needs to press R. And when you're paired up with the flag and drag, it's pretty self-explanatory. And just having that CC and damage, it sort of plays itself. And I think we saw that, like, yeah, the Yasuo was 2 and 5, but he still did a pretty significant amount of impact in that game.
Mm-hmm. But no, they're going to ban the Nautilus and the Trundle.
which is it's true, right? The Nautilus has been hard carrying this bot lane, I believe, and those hooks are just brutal.
They're first picking Yasuo Yone here.
Are you sure?
I'm.
Oh, TDS, you mean?
No, BDE's blue side. They didn't ban the Yasuo or the Yone.
No, but they're the ones that. No, TDS is the one that played Yasuo.
Yeah, so I think BDE.
Oh, you think they're gonna pick it away?
My spidey senses are tingling that they're gonna first pick Yasuo Yone.
I mean, you know what? Do it.
I'd love to see it.
if you're confident in it, like, just go for it.
Mm-hmm. And putting it on fishing for honor, like we said, who has been performing the best on the team. And okay, I'm not gonna pick it. But I would love to maybe get that safe bot lane locked in and have your jungler completely play around mid lane. Get that lead in the.
Problem is you didn't ban it, so does TDS just like pick it themselves?
Exactly. It's still up.
Yeah, that's. Dude, imagine Yasuo Malphite locking right now. Like, just FF. Like.
Yeah.
Like. Do it. TDS. I know you're watching stream. Fine, take the Sivir. No fun.
Now, my question is, lethality Zaya, yay or nay? Apparently, that's a thing now.
No, they insta nerfed it. They insta nerfed it yesterday.
Okay, so the patch.
It was a thing for half a day, and then Riot realized, oh wow, they have a 57% win rate. That's a little weird. Okay, we'll just cut Zaya a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, same thing happened with Vi, right? Vi, the quality of life changes. I think Vi was still really good before this patch, but the quality of life changes sort of brought her back into the spotlight, and I think that happens a lot with these balance changes. It's sort of like a nudge that accidentally turns into like falling down the cliff, and then oh my god, this is like 57% win rate broken. So then Riot just has to we'll just back off on the buffs a little bit, keep him away from that 57% win rate. Meanwhile, Tom Kench and Camille, they're untouched for some ungodly reason because Riot Games. Anyway, Sivir Jarvan picked up by TD Shadows, and Big Big Entourage Druid are going to follow with the Graves Leona. What do you think? Graves mid? Graves jungle?
Great girl, Grace top. You know, we've
Graves,
seen that
that's
place
true.
in
I've read.
World.
Yeah, I played Graves. It's definitely there's the Yasuo. Okay. Wait, they banned Malphite? Why? Why? Why would you ban Malphite? Oh,
you
but
know,
you
they
have
just
first pick. You have the first pick of second.
true.
Like you just pick it. Come on, TDS. I'm hurting. I'm hurting. Anyway,
They're getting
Corki
cocky.
banned out.
All right. So yeah, Lux. Here's Lanix on the Jarvan once again. Honestly, I'm always happy to see that.
It's very very strong, and with the with the Yasuo once again, it's strong, definitely strong, and especially if we see another knockup champion. Support hasn't been picked yet. Maybe we see Rakan, Alistar. Nautilus is banned, but there's so many options out there that just fulfill your fantasy as a Yasuo player. You see the little red arrow, the green arrows. You see your R button light up, your neurons trigger, your finger quivers, and you press R.
Monkey sees
And you win the
action.
game. Yeah. The
Neuron
Nexus
activation.
explodes. Yes, victory.
Right.
There's Legalio. Is this
There's
actually a
some-
rumble? No, it's a Galio.
No, yeah.
a little game one joke for you. Those of you that were here from the start will understand. If you just tuned in, you're completely lost, and that's your own fault for not watching the whole series. Anyway, Galio, that's definitely a knockup for sure on the ultimate.
Now,
On his
do you
E.
think that's going mid or support?
That's a good question, and I don't know the answer to that question. I think that we saw the Yasuo can go top, and we saw that Beyblade is the one that wants to be on this Yasuo. So I think Galio definitely has the potential to be flexed mid and support. Although, Vagar support. Oh no, wait, no, sorry.
Leona.
I brain for it. I mean, your Zaya Leona into Sivir Galio. I think that's fine. I think that's fine if you're Sivir Galio. You have the disengage. You have the CC. On the other hand, want something that's a little bit more peely. Nope, they're going for the Ari. All right. That's interesting. I don't know. I like the Kled pick though. It's you don't see Kled much, like at all.
Nope.
He's one of those champions that he's like ASOL, right? Like you just never see them, but when you see one, they're like 2 million mastery points. they only play Kled. They secretly have like a pet Velociraptor under their desk cosplaying as Skarl. They're a full on champ. I don't know if Chief is that type of Kled player, but I always assume that when I see Kled. But that being said, Ari versus Vagar, what do you think of that matchup?
I would like to put my odds on the Ari. It's if you're picking Ari, you obviously, it's not just everybody owns this champion, and so they get to pick it. It's this person knows how to play Ari, and with those mobility options on the champion, with how squishy Vagar can be, I have high hopes for what See in the Dark. I'm assuming See in the Dark is still in the game. They're not put Crockpot back in. Yes, it is See the Dark. See the Dark in the mid lane. I'm thinking they're picking that for a reason. Going up against this Vagar, and just Ari, neither of them are really super consistent damage dealers. But I would say Ari's damage uptime is probably a bit better than Vagar's. So all in all, I like the Ari into the Vagar, and if I had to choose one, I would go with the Ari.
Yeah, and I think that's definitely, it sort of ties into what sort of happened last game. Like Ari, I think, has like the early to mid game, and the Vagar sort of starts coming online in the mid game, unless you suicide under turret level 1. Hopefully that doesn't happen. Either way, the one good thing I'm seeing in this draft is Prevail on the Zaya, right? Zaya is one of those champions that, just due to having the Feather Storm, you have a lot of self peel, and against like a Sivir Galio bot lane, it's definitely not as easy for them to dive you as the Nautilus, right? And I think that's a good thing for Druid in this game. You know, again, but they have the Jarvan, so if it's a 3-man and Zaya's all alone, you know, maybe you're not so lucky.
Yep.
So, but in those 1v2 kills that were happening in the last two games, I think hopefully Prevail will have a lot easier time. Otherwise, you know, it's if last game happens again in the spot lane, it's just going to be disaster.
Yep.
But you know, Kled top versus Yasuo, I think that's a very interesting matchup. I think it's very skill based, especially level 2 onward. It's hopefully the camera pans up top more often than usual because I kind of want to watch what's going on there. Mid lane, you know, we are talking about it. Ari has an early advantage, which is very good for this Jarvan, right? He wants to have the scuttle priority to get an early lead on this Graves. Meanwhile, Graves is just farmed it up, getting his items. Then he's casually one-tapping you 15 minutes into the game. No explanation. You know, auto QR, and you're just poof, bye-bye. Anyway, I think these drafts are very, very solid. And the one, you know, they still have the Yasuo Jarvan combo from last game on the side of Shadows. Meanwhile, Druid, they have a they don't really have a combo. They kind of just have a lot of damage.
Yep.
And that's not a bad thing. You know, when you just have so much damage across so many threats, it's really hard to get pinned down. And on the side of Shadows, they no longer have the Akali, so their dive potential is limited to the Jarvan. So I think that's a good thing for Druid, all in all, because that means that the Veigar and the Xayah, they have to choose one on the side of Shadows, and the other one is going to be free to pretty much do whatever they want.
Okay. Yep, I can see that. But it's you have a lot of damage, but it's kind of like going up against a comp, especially one with the combo. It seems like you're just as a team. BDE, you have a lot of damage, but if you take out one of those sources, suddenly you don't have as much damage. And it seems like you're going all in on simply being able to kill them. Death is the best CC. But you know, with the pick potential coming out from the side of TDS, you know, Galio suddenly joining a side lane. You have the Ari charm followed up by Flag and Drag, possibly followed up by Yasuo R, all that sort of stuff. I feel like it's going to be tough for the side of BDED to try to make something happen. BDED, I think, need to get. It's good to have, you know, an objective. Yes, you want to be there to set up first, but at this for here, it's like they need to be set up first if they want to try to take an objective. I do not see them finding any success if the side of TDS can comfortably turn on them from the objective. It has to be the fight coming to BDED.
Yeah, I agree. And you know, drawing off what we were talking about in some of the previous games, I think the tables have sort of flipped in terms of disengage. I think in this composition, Shadows is the one sort of lacking disengage. They really have nothing to disengage except, I guess, a Yasuo Tornado to knock him up, or maybe a Jarvan Cataclysm into flag drag out. But overall, I think if Shadows is forced into a bad fight, they're kind of just sucked into it until they lose. Meanwhile, Druid, they still have the Leona ultimate, the Veigar cage, the Graves smoke screen, even Xayah AoE root. So I think they have a lot more sort of tactical options that they can go for, and this may be the chance that Druid needed to turn this around. And you know, it's their only chance because it is currently 2-0, and Druid are on the brink of expulsion.
We'll have to see if they can turn things around and save their grade here in the grand finals of Runeterra Academy's freshman class. We'll be right back at it with what could be the conclusion if TD Shadow could take it all in this third game on Summoner's Rift after this quick break. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the grand finals of Runeterra Academy's freshman class. We have BDED going up against TD Shadow, BDED being Big Duck Entourage Druids. They are behind in this series 2-0, so TD Shadow just need to take this next one. They will take it all. We'll have to see if BDED can turn the tide. But it looks like I'm not going to do it early on as we're looking at a 5-point start.
Yep, and take a quick look at runes. We do see the Airy on the Zaya, which is indicative of the most recent lethality build. It did get nerfed in a hot fix, but I think it's still pretty strong on Zaya. Meanwhile, the lethality, Chad lethality on the, or sorry, Chad lethal tempo on the Sivir, meaning it is on hit. Um, and everything else pretty much standards. You know, we have three conquerors. What a surprise!
Yeah.
Fun fact: there's an average of three conquerors in every game. In case you didn't know, that rune is very very strong. And keep an eye on fishing for honor in the mid lane.
Yep.
He is top the damage charts in 2 out of 2 games. So let's see if he can go for 3 for 3, and maybe he will have what it takes to get this game going. But we do see some cheese coming out. What's going to happen here? Nothing.
Nothing.
Literally nothing.
Well,
Oh, bone plated cock. There you
there's some cheese. IQ with Airy.
go. Speaking
So,
of cheese,
yeah. It's going to land with that tier start. Unsurprisingly, on most of these lethality ADC builds, tier is an absolutely integral part of that kit to have some sort of high mana poke that they want to be able to rely on
yeah.
reliably. Some nice trays coming out
Talk
in
about
favor of
poke
Team
that
Shadow.
Sivir Q. Woo,
Yeah.
but she's out of mana already.
In the top lane, Chief staying top of
Look at that
Beyblade.
trade. Wow. Yeah, that's a Kled Q into Kled W. Ouch.
Yep. And Beyblade's going to go back
Uh,
in. A bear trap on a rope
Beyblade.
to be fully procced. A flash first
I mean,
blood for Chief onto
I don't know if he
Beyblade.
needed to flash for it. He was pretty dead, regardless. But
Things looking up for the side of BDED.
and Kled is one of those champions. Like there's a couple champions that I feel they snowball so incredibly hard. A few of them, I think, like specifically in top lane. I think mainly Kled and Aatrox are the two that I think are just disgusting. But meanwhile,
Counter engage
Leona's
coming
in
out. It's going to
trouble.
be Tem with the Ignite ticking. Brandon needs help. Finds the kill. That kill in top laners answered and bought by the side of TD Shadow.
Yep, and Jarvan actually looking for the Graves. Is he gonna find him? No, Graves is on the Wolves.
They're both going for
Maybe
this.
the collapse.
Vinny has advantage.
Oh, he
Sees
just dashed. Is he
Jarvan.
dead?
Yep. Flag and drag has already been used. Now it's just, well, yeah, yoink my scuttle at the very least.
Yeah, and maybe going for the double scuttle. I mean, the Shadows bot lane is recalling, so
It
it looks
needs to
like
go
they're not
right
going
now though.
for it.
Nope.
You can have a scuttle crab. It's okay, Alex.
All right. Then now we see some pings coming through. It is the side of TD Shadow looking to make something happen. There, flash forced out from See the Dark there in the mid lane. Nice
Vagar Cage. My
Yep.
my. Oh wow, Chief coming back with a pickaxe. That is ideal first back for so many top laners, just coming back with a 25 AD. Meanwhile, Beyblade with the refillable potion. Oof.
Yep.
Just a
Hey,
little bit of an attack damage diff.
just a little. Now we see Clone Man all alone, but not for long down here in the bottom lane. CS is practically even across the board. No clear deficits of note. That will likely not be made up rather soon. Chief is staying on top of Beyblade. Those trades continue to be in favor of the Kled. Now for Vinny's rotating through try. Maybe looking to make something happen, but no. It will just be not a back quite yet, as this lane is pushing.
Yeah, Vinny is looking for some action bot lane. Can he make it happen? Gonna be face checked.
There's the be Chief
We're
trying to stay
actually
on
looking.
top of Beyblade. The Steel Attempt is going to land as the Flag and Drag does not because of Scar will dismount, but Chief does not have Flash ready to go, and Beyblade's going to find the kill. Vinny's going to flash forward. Meanwhile, on the bot side, Brand needs help getting out of there with a flash of their own, but now Clone Man trying to stay on top, but a beautiful stun coming out from Tem is going to help the jungler, but maybe they need some help themselves as a Flash Boomerang Blade is going to find one kill, not two. Now it's going to be Prevail trying to free fire on that Zaya. Some peel being provided by Brandon needs help, but Chief Cupid's teleport to join the fight. A stun onto the Ari is going to lock down and secure that kill, or maybe not just quite yet. Yes, there it goes. It's going to be Kled finding the kill, and Zaya onto the Galio now. And it's a
It's a strong start
rough
of
play
freaking
for the
Druid,
side
yeah.
of. I'm not really sure who's coming out on top right now.
It. Uh. Uh.
Maybe you know, we can say it this time. Fast back.
All right. I mean, I saw it coming. I thought he was gonna live with 1 HP. I wasn't sure, and then I just see I see him disappear. It's like, oh no, anyway, oof. Now, he did execute, so technically it's not bad, but it's just funny.
Yeah, technically, it wasn't a fast back because kill timer was more than 8 seconds, but now we might see another kill timer come through as Tem's going to be locked down by the Galio knock up in the taunt, but not enough follow up by Clone Man to get the kill.
Yeah, not quite in a position to make use of the engage, but I mean, free half health chunk, I'll take it. I mean, if your Shadow's in the bot lane, this is pretty perfect because now, actually, Leona's back to full HP. So somehow, maybe cookies.
Yep.
Like, what is this Yasuo? I don't get it.
Yeah,
He's just taking horrible trades, dashing around. I feel like I'm watching my solo queue teammates.
Yeah, I feel like Yasuo wants to stay on top of you, but I feel like Kled is kind of like okay, because Kled kind
Yeah,
of
I
wants that
mean,
too.
yeah, like there's a certain point where you just gotta admit, like, I don't win these extended fights. I need to just farm up, try and get to my power spikes, maybe poke with Q. But like at some point, got to be really careful feeding this Kled boar. I mean,
Yep.
he's already, he's got the Tiamat, he's got the Giant's belt. He's really strong.
And I'm assuming that's going to be like Urgot sometimes do. It's going to be the Colossal Hydra Rush on that champion.
Here's the ultimate.
Yep, I won't be surprised if Beyblade dies here because there's going to be a bear trap auto rope. Going to be full
Oh,
combos
he
with the help
follows the
of the E.
blast.
Now Vinny's going to join the fight. A wind wall just going to buy some time, but I don't believe anything more. As at the very least, the jungler got the kill, so you're not inting your own lane as hard as you could be.
I mean, let's be honest, he's inting it pretty hard.
Spell Shield comes out
and this
late, but it's
bot
going to be a
lane.
double taunt from the Galio. Flash out from Prevail, and Boomerang Blade is not quite enough, but the Ignite is. So Brandon will finally come into the Leona.
Yeah.
And Prevail is. Oh, goodness.
Oh man, and it looks like it's Tamara's turn to on the bot lane because 0-3, 8 minutes into the game, and
Yep.
I think it's a little competition. I think Beyblade and Timarin are like in all chat saying, "I'm running it down faster." No, I'm running it down faster. It's sort of like who's gonna throw harder, I guess, because we were talking about Yasuo. It doesn't really matter if you're behind; you really just got to press R. But at the same time, you don't want to be giga feeding your team or the enemy team because Graves is going for the lethality build. It looks like at least a Yomu's rush, perhaps, and it's they're standing on a ward and they don't know it. But like it's just not something you want to be dealing with, and especially when you can just close out the series right here, you just gotta not die. It's just that easy.
Well, my question becomes kind of like, okay, what is going to be worse to deal with? A Fed Kled or a Fed Sivir Galio bot lane? And to me, it's really, honestly, I think I'd rather deal with the Fed Kled.
Okay, Beyblade with the mechanics.
Beyblade is going back in under tower, but Lennox is going to help secure the kill. That's going to, at the very least, even things up. Beyblade is going to get one turret plate, maybe two off of this with the help of those minions.
Yeah, and that's a good play by the Yasuo. You have the Jarvan at the top side. You win the 1v2 or the 2v1. Sorry, And just like that, Kled is gonna die once again. And getting some turret plates in the lane, always a good thing. Getting some more gold for you and the Zaya. 3 turret plates to be exact, very good. But the engage.
A nice Feather Stormer's going to buy some space and time. Not locked up by that taunt. There's an exhaust onto Clone Man and a beautiful root coming through. But no
Pretty
kills.
good
See the Dark will
damage.
get locked up by the Event Horizon in the mid lane despite using that Spirit Rush. And nothing will come of that ultimate usage.
Yep, and just a quick stat check on the Vagar. He has 67 phenomenal evil power. Not too bad. 10 minutes into the game, 11 minutes into the game, pretty solid extra AP.
Stepping. Then we have Try is the hubbub at the time being. Nice Boomerang Blade is going to deal a decent amount of damage. Spot lanes and junglers are all converging on the same spot around the map. Ocean Dragon is up. Inferno is already taken by the side of BDED. So we're looking at either the mountain or the cloud soul coming out. There's a charm by See the Dark, but here comes the Kled joining the fight. Flash is ready on the Ahri. Ultimate is not. We may not get out of this alive. As we have action on the bot lane as well. It's going to be Xenoblade and stun onto the Silver, but there's no follow-up. It's a double kill for Clone Man. Prevail can't get out of there either because of the Cataclysm, and things are unfortunately, I can't say. I have to say, to a degree, unsurprisingly, things are now looking good for the side of TD Shadow. They have
Yeah,
been pretty
and
dominant.
you kill the Ori in the mid. Great roam from Chief with the charge. Beyblade looking for the all in. Chief may be in trouble. Q
Yep.
misses. Uh-oh.
Oh.
Oh.
No vision. Ooh, flash to charge.
Wait, what? You didn't flash that.
Hmm.
You wouldn't have
Maybe
died if you.
I don't know. I just say maybe he
Doesn't
thought he had
have.
R up, but Beyblade literally started that fight by pressing
There's
R.
no
So,
vision. You wouldn't have
yeah.
vision either. I don't know. Maybe it's just one of those things where you just flash just because you're like, oh, projectile must flash. Oh, but the TP back. I think Beyblade's
Yeah.
dead, guys.
David's gonna get locked up, and the fully channeled bear trap on a rope means no
What? He
less
didn't ult.
healing from the vamp scepter unless tank those minions for us, Clyde. There's gonna be a charm combo landing in the mid lane. Ultimate user just get out of there.
Right, Beyblade may have actually
Yeah,
won that
well done by
ultimate.
Beyblade there. Trying to go back in now, doing the damage to Chief, but for Vinny will deny it.
And that's the weird thing about playing Fled. I don't know if you saw the exact patch notes for Vi, but what they basically did is oh my gosh, how much HP does he have? 42. Anyway, what they did for Vi was they reduced the random time that it takes for her ult and Q to work. Basically, there was a random instance of time that her ult would take to work. And the same thing actually happens for Kled's remount. It is a random time. And it's honestly really sucky because there are times where you swear you remounted, but you die because your Kled Scarlet just wasn't there yet. I think it's really good that Riot are starting to remove these mechanics because, dying because you accidentally rolled a 0.8 seconds instead of 0.5 seconds is kind of ridiculous, right? I mean, it really feels bad when that happens. But luckily for Chief, I think he low rolled on that one, remounting Scarl just in time. And, with those plated steel caps, he is just absolutely shredding Beyblade, though.
Well, here's Beyblade going in. Here's going to be flash forward and a E Steel Tempest. And Chief is going to die here.
I mean, that's
Should
the
have banned Yasuo.
Holy Zeal power spike, I think, from Yasuo. And that's just going to be top lane power, just like that. Honestly, well played. He knows his limits. I'll give him that. I thought he loved that for sure. But
yeah, it looks like an int, but then just all of a sudden it's a dismount.
all of a sudden, the damage starts coming through.
Yeah.
I mean, he does have much crit chance? 75%. So it's pretty beefy, really strong early in the game. But Titanic Hydra finished for the Kled, so that may be the power spike of Titanic Hydra may be too strong, but maybe dead here.
Nicely played by See the Dark.
Yeah.
Yes, Ignite will secure the kill, and that's what I was talking about when I referred to the Ahri Vanguard matchup in Champ Select.
Yeah. Woo! This game's pretty slow. One dragon either side.
Yep.
Cloud Soul pretty mediocre, I would say, for both teams. probably, I guess, better for TD Shadows just because they don't have disengage. So getting the Cloud Soul gives them some potential disengage if needed. Um, but overall, it's pretty low impact, I would say. Definitely one of the weaker ones for both of these teams. And we do see Lennox up top taking this Rift Herald. But Chief gonna be face checking
Oh.
or not. He's walking back to the Ari.
Oh, the top. I was looking bot lane where a flash.
Oh yeah, I was looking at the Rift.
Okay, so yeah, flash force out of Leona. Thankfully, a sweeper means Leona does not full face check and get completely locked down and killed. Now, see the Dark is openly stepping their bounds. Way too much. No flash, no ultimate ready to go. Charm is not going to work because that Kled is unstoppable, and the kill will go over to Chief.
Yep, and the roams from Chief are just showing what happens when your top lane isn't just AFK pushing. Like no flame to Beyblade, but that is what he's doing, right? He has just been sitting top farming, not TPing, just pushing the turret, and it's not necessarily a bad thing. But when your opponent is making plays around the map, you should probably consider making plays of your own because yeah, you have a CS advantage, but your team is losing out, and ultimately objectives can make or break the game and these early leads.
Mm-hmm. And then, See the Dark is currently 1-3-0, but like we're having kind of a reverse situation. See the Dark is 1-3-0, but then the Sivir is 4-0-2, and the Galio
Yeah,
is 2-1-4. And
exactly.
it's kind of like one
But
as
imagine if Chief is the one that makes the difference in these fights, that gets that shutdown on the Sivir, gets the shutdown on the
yep.
Jarvan, and all of a sudden, is Bebe going to TP? Looks
Nice
like he's
whip
not.
command. Here's Entrance is gonna come in. Not quite a pincher just yet. In goes Galio, gonna find the taunt onto one. It's Leona. TP being channeled by Beyblade. Not AK pushing anymore. Flag and drag is gonna come out. Cataclysm not quite yet. There it goes. Gonna catch four inside. He's gonna flag and drag back out to buy himself some space. Lennox will die to the Vanguard. Kled is joining the fight. Fed as he is, but a double kill, triple, 2 kills with the boomerang for Clone Man. Fishing for Honor's Event Horizon to ensure that they can get out of there alive. It's TD
Yeah,
Shadow coming out on top.
And Sivir now 7-0, 700 gold bounty. That's gonna be first Cloud Dragon of the game over to TD Shadows. Gonna be their second drag of the game. Soul Point coming up in 5 minutes if they can claim it. And that I'm glad Beyblade TP'd because it may not have been the difference, but it may have been the difference, right? Obviously, we don't know because we can't see the other version. But if his team lost that fight and he was still pushing top lane, that could have been a critical error in them losing the game.
Mm-hmm. Okay, there's Chief being locked up here. That Justice Punch is going to miss somehow, but so is that Bear Trap on a rope. And Chief is playing this rather awkwardly. You see the Dark is still caught down in that alcove. Charm is going to land onto the Leona. Some peel from the Galio will ensure that both of them can get out of their life.
Yep, and Kled going for the tank build, it seems, which is Titanic into Sunfire. It's going to be very, very tanky, especially if he follows that up with a Gargoyle Stone Plate. I mean, Gargoyle is such a strong item. It basically gives you a guaranteed rebound because you get a huge shield. And it lasts for just enough time for you to get your rebound off. Very, very strong item on Kled. And, the resistances it gives you are so, so crucial. And Kled going to be living 1 HP.
Now Beyblade's going to go in on Fishing for Honor. Event Horizon's kind of come out late. Now Beyblade can just try to surf this wave, but it's a bit preemptive on the sweeping blade there.
Yep, I mean, he does have shield bow completed, so he is definitely spiking. And yep, there's the eclipse for Xayah.
And sure, lethality Xayah is strong, but at the end of the day, I think your builds have to adapt. And I'm not super big fan of the lethality going into the Jarvan, the Galio, even the Yasuo. What I'd love to see maybe a shield bow come out instead.
Yeah, I think I definitely agree that the lethality Sivir. Lethality Xayah. I think it was like flavor of the flavor of the hour before it got nerfed. I definitely think that at this point it's not Like the statistics say it's good, but only because it's already skewed towards being good from the beginning of the patch,
Mhm.
and it may be baiting players into playing it. I mean, regardless, a 7-0 Sivir is definitely, two items,
Yep.
definitely going to be the stronger of the two. And Ari could be in trouble here.
Right.
Yeah, he's just gonna ult out. No big deal. Meanwhile, the gang's here.
All right. No triple gank here in the mid lane as Chief is going to fall back. Baron is on the map. The next dragon will be in 2 minutes. And I think at this point, we saw Beyblade has been able to outplay this Kled a couple times. And I think at this point, despite picking up that Hydra, well, then I have the Bomby Cinder. So it's a real tough call for me as to who's going to win a 1v1 in the side lane between the Kled and the Yasuo. But in the meantime, Baron is getting shredded by the side of TD Shadow.
Yep, bye-bye.
Yeah.
That
Chief
is,
oh, goodness. On the Hunt is going to go out, as is the Flag and Drag. Linux has Flash. Do they? Yes. No, they don't. Everfrost and a Solar Flare is going to make sure the engage does not come through to his fullest, but there's a Cataclysm falling back, but there's a 5-man Heroes entrance. It's going to be the last one to following up. Beyblade brought very low. Double kill going to go to the Yasuo and the Sivir, respectively. There's going to be a trade out with the help of the turret. Going to be Beyblade falling, but a 4-man knock up by the Galio, followed up by the Yasuo, ends up in a huge team fight win for the side team.
yep,
Shadow.
4 for 2, even under turrets. That was pretty crazy. And, I think it only worked just because Sivir was so far ahead. I mean, you saw how fast they shredded that Baron.
Yep.
Having a Yasuo 2 items and Sivir 2 items, it's just too much. Baron goes bye-bye. They're not quite going to be able to get this mid-inhib turret, though, although there is the cannon just chunking away. The turret's going to stay alive for now. But Dragon coming up in 30 seconds.
Mhm.
Will TD Shadows, not Showers, be able to claim the Cloud Soul point? However, Vinny is up. Maybe he's looking for a Smite Steal, possibly. And either way, this is a good way of wasting Shadows' Baron. Because if they contest this Dragon and you manage to stall it out, I mean, this Baron is ticking.
Yep. But, honestly, there's... Beyblade is farming Krugs. Okay. They TP ready to go, so they can try to fight if they need to. Cage is used early. That could be a big sign to go in. There's On the Hunt. Op, no engaged quite yet. There's going to be Lens go in. As Cataclysm ready to go. It's going to catch 2. See the Dark going forward. We'll land a Charm onto the Leona, and it's going to be the support falling very quickly for the side of BDED. But it looks like nothing else.
And you know what? Having Leona be the sacrificial lamb.
That's okay. Yeah.
She's already 0-7. Like, she's not worth gold. Okay, interesting. Like, Leona dying again there really doesn't matter too much. You're denying the soul point, which is pretty good. Yeah, you couldn't contest mid anyway, right? Whether Leona's alive or not, this mid lane is pretty much uncontestable. So you lose the inhib regardless. I think that was a pretty good trade for Druid. Leona for Dragon.
Yep.
The blood sacrifice. That being said, Shadow's going for this top lane. Very good play. Yasuo walking bot lane for the other push, and Druid are split there. They don't have the wave clear to deal with these waves. We saw the same problem in all the most recent drafts, and
I would love to see Drew actually go for a fight right here. Beyblade does not have teleport ready to go. They know the way, but the Leona's going to get chunked down to 0 basically before that even begins. It's going to be Kled going to the back line, but there's just too much damage, and PO coming out. Len is going to find the kill onto the top laner. Going to be answered by the Veigar, but that is just not enough. Heroes Enter trying to buy some space. It will. A bit bloody, but still a 2 for 3 in favor of TD Shadow, and Yasuo has free reign down to that bot lane. Bot lane inhib turret is going to fall as we speak. Inhib is now open. Thankfully, no more Baron buff, but
yeah, I mean, you're still losing this inhib? Question mark.
Okay.
Yeah, it's gone.
Yeah, they was gonna catch
Whoa!
it.
Why are you playing up? Oh my God, is he dead?
Rose Yasuo, watch this. Yes, he has to hit his power spike.
Why would he? What? Like
500 gold bounty to the clan.
Like just leave. It hurts. Like you had the inhib, you like the cage was used, just walk away.
As Beyblade
Anyways,
says in chat,
um,
in all chat, I'm really good at this game.
did he say that in chat?
Yep, I have chat turned on, and in all chat, you did say.
Oh, oh, in game. I was looking at Twitch chat.
No,
And I
no,
was
in
like,
game.
that's weird. He's looking at Twitch chat.
Ghosting.
Anyway, yes, he's very, very good at the game. And the taunt not going to find his mark. But, double inhib. This gives TD Shadows pretty much open reign to look at this top lane turret. And, Sivir, 3 items, has the Infinity Edge. We are really seeing the difference between the on-hit Sivir and the Lethality Xayah, right? Lethality Xayah, it's a bit much, but she's pretty much useless at this
Yep.
point in the game. I mean, Leona's dead again. Whatever. I mean, not worth any gold, but like maybe.
Nice stun coming out from the Vagar. That could be one kill. It will be the Sivir going down. Kled, however, is charmed up.
Okay.
Can't quite push the issue here, but now they will as they push R going in onto Lennox. So Jarvan does have R ready to go. Flag and drag into the back line, but there's no follow-up because Ari is zoned away by the Graves in the back line. Hero's entrance is going to come in and buy some space, and Time Brandon needs help. He's going to lend help to his
He lives.
Jungler. Pitching for honors going to get soloed by the Galio. Basically, Lennox is going to fall, and now it's just the Graves against the Ari and the Galio. We'll see if they can make it. Shield bow is popped, and this Galio is dishing out the damage. Double kill up in
Leona
the jungle.
versus Yasuo.
Yep, Leona Yasuo. Beyblade is just ignoring BDE support for the time being, just focusing down on those towers. Now they have tower aggro, so things could get messy, but Brandon's opportunity comes in and the rest of Beal. And that, ladies and gentlemen, will be
game 3.
Shadow getting the 3-0 sweep right into champion slot here in Runeterra Academy's freshman class. Big congratulations to them as they claim victory.
Yep, and we went into this game, into this series, thinking who's going to triumph out of these 2 ADCs, Clone 54 or Provale. And I think we got a pretty solid answer. It is going to be Clone Man. Pretty dominatory performance in all 3 games. Meanwhile, the BDE Druid bot lane struggling to find their mark and just not able to generate any sort of lead whatsoever. And damage charts, unfortunately, Fishing for Honor did not get the highest damage. So not going to be 3 for 3, but, Sivir right up there as expected.
Yep. And, like I said, I would have loved to see them play around, put Fishing for Honor, not on the Vagar, put them on, like, Vagar can make plays, but I wouldn't call Vagar a playmaking champion.
I mean, it's just that he was really good on the Vagar, but it's not a 1v9 champion.
Yeah, it's not what your
bot lane just, not flame, but when your bot lane just doesn't perform well, a bad day, whatever, it's just Vagar is just not the champion to hard carry on.
Absolutely not. And so things will go the way of TD Shadow. GGWP to both teams. A big congrats to Big Duck Entourage Druid for, as it was put by our LOL director, PVS himself, if they had taken this grand finals, they would have completed what can only be described as a miracle run through these playoff brackets. But it will be TD Shadow, second seed out of Freshman's Division 2, taking it all in the end. I'm now waiting on production to inform me who we will be interviewing from the side of TD Shadow. Do you have any sort of predictions as to that? As to who do you, if you had to name an MVP for the TD Shadow in the series, who would you pick, Wizard?
Ooh, I mean, I think it definitely goes out to one of the bot lane. I mean, just 3 for 3 games, right? You completely shut the BDE Druid bot lane out of the game completely. So either Cloneman 54, Brandon needs help. Both of them performed extremely well. I do, I'm tempted to give it to Clone Man just because I tend to be one of those people that sort of forgets supports exist just because the ADC is the one doing all the damage. And I wasn't paying too much attention to whether Brandon was the one initiating or like spoon feeding the kills. So I think they make a great duo. all together. And who do we got? We have
Hello.
Talks. What's up?
I'm good. How are you? How are you?
Doing it pretty good. Pretty great series coming out from TD Shadows. How do you think your players performed tonight?
Best they've ever looked. I think that was the fastest. I think counting best of threes, that's the fastest they've ever completed a series. That team, they just decide like one game that they just want to run it down as five and lose in 40 minutes. So
Yeah,
honestly, really happy with the way they looked.
absolutely. And we have a little bit of a contrast, right? We saw your bot lane pretty much hard stomping. On the other side, we saw Beyblade kind of quote unquote running it down. I mean, half the time successful, half the time not so successful. What what's your hot take on it?
Oh, I don't know. I feel like I just gave him Yasuo and his brain shut off. He's just like, holy shit, I can't believe
Typical
that this
Yasuo
team
player.
gave us Yasuo. Yeah, he's literally a Yasuo OTP, and he won what, like 19 of his last 20 games on Yasuo to get to gold, and they let him have Yasuo. So I feel like it's not even like that's his best gameplay. I think he just saw that he picked Yasuo, like laughed his ass off, and then just kind of like turned
He's
his
having the
brain off
time of
for the
his
rest of
life.
the
Yeah.
game. Yeah, basically.
All right. Now you said that this is the best your team has looked, from anywhere in the season. Do you think it was just your team was like, it's the grand finals, we got to show up, or was there any sort of point maybe in the playoffs bracket where they really started to zone in, focus up as they were getting closer to the finals?
You see, I think the real thing here is if you want to look back at Red's predictions throughout the year, he had us in first to start, and then his playoff bracket, he had us winning 3-2 in round one. So he won the first two games, and we were like, all right, got to make Red's brackets perfectly correct. So we threw a couple games and then won 3-2. Then second series, Red had us 3-2. So we won the first two games, threw the next two, won the third. And then this series, Red, he really fumbled the bag, right? He predicted BDE, and so we couldn't throw for predictions anymore. So we just had to wrap it up real quick. But no, I think that
Yep.
they literally, I think we just BDE didn't know how to adapt to our drafts,
Hmm.
or I think that throughout the playoffs we really kind of learned more about how to draft for this team, where we kind of were forced to make different adaptations and learn different champions for our players due to different takeaways and bans that both Shogun 277 and Zenigma were able to pull out, which kind of threw us for a loop a little bit. But I think going into this game, we pretty much figure like all of those throwing for the loop bans kind of like got figured out by our team on like what we have to do in order to win against that. And I feel like that kind of showed tonight.
It sure did show, I would say, seeing how your team performed tonight. Any questions you have, Wizard?
Yeah, I want to know who do you think was MVP of your team tonight, Toxin?
Oh, I was trying to talk about this with Crockpot between games, and I'm not sure because Blade kind of popped off, but he also kind of sprinted it and landed. So I don't know if I can give it to Blade. See the Dark. I tell you what, this man was the most confident I have ever seen. See the Dark. He comes in. He's like, "Lock me a Kali. I don't care that Silas is literally perfect here, and I play Silas, and it's a counter pick matchup. I don't care. I want to play a Kali. Just lock it. Just screaming it at me, and I'm like, all right, man, I'll give you a Kali. And then it kind of like did okay, but like wasn't insane. And then the RE kind of got gapped in lane. Not gonna lie. Shout out to fishing. So I don't know if I can
Yeah.
give it to the Dark. Uh, I think that Lenny played really well, or Lennox. I think he played
Hmm.
really well, but I don't think he was involved enough. So I don't know if I can give it to Lennox. And then it's got to come down to bot lane. So then I
Yeah.
think it's take your pick between Clone Man and Brandon. Like I
Yeah.
don't think Clone Man gets as fed as he does without Brandon, and
Yeah.
I don't think any other AD carry with Brandon does as well. So honestly, I'd give it to both of them.
Yeah. Great analysis. And What do you think happened to this bot lane tonight? I mean, if it was just one game, I would just pass it off as maybe like a draft difference. But it seemed pretty consistent in all three games that your bot lane just seemed to outperform, and the BDE Druid bot lane just wasn't able to keep up.
Well, we did have the MVP of the league. Sorry, MVP of the support role. Brandon needs help in the bot lane, and
Yeah,
I thought he really stepped up his game tonight. I think that his Nautilus has been great in the entire season,
yeah.
and I think the Galio pick was just kind of insane, considering it not only destroys Leona, but it also does pretty well into Xayah. And the fact that they were like, oh wait, their mid laner plays Galio, let's pick a Galio counter on like B4, B5 in draft, made the pick even like that much better because then we got counter picked in mid. I think he just he just played insane this series for sure. And then I think Clone Man, we kind of just decided that like him learning new champions isn't happening because we tried him on Jinx. Jinx didn't really work out. We tried him on Misfortune. Misfortune didn't really work out. And we just accepted the fact that he is a Sivir OTP and then like Ashe whenever Sivir's banned.
Just
And
embrace it. Embrace it.
just embrace that he's a kiting machine and then call it a day.
There you go.
The other thing on the other side, I think Temerier is a very good support. I think I think it's a he. He's pretty goated, not in the amateur community for IBS. The thing is, I feel like I've played against, or we've drafted against Temerier a lot of times the last like full year. So I kind of know it's like ban Zyra. It's not much of a problem. Uh, and then I mean, I'm also surprised he didn't pull out Zyra. Or sorry, not Zyra. Rel. His Rel is actually really
Yeah.
good. And then Prevail. I'm not sure. We played against him when it was FTD, or when he was on FTD and ZGG. I didn't. I wasn't there for that. I had Carl Sultan. I don't know if you guys know him, but he was drafting for that game, so I've never seen Prevail play. But I don't know. I didn't like the Zaya builds personally.
Same here.
Boo,
I'm always
lethality.
I'm always excited when I see the lethal tempo on
Yeah.
Sivir. I'm like, yes, it's not lethality.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, our team hates lethality in general. Even though Clonman can play it, they just they just mental block when they see lethality lethality Sivir.
All right. Do we know if we're getting any players in here, or nothing? Not trying to out Oxton from here, but
I
I
mean,
see
we
chat.
can
Chat.
literally
I don't know
jump
if
into
chat is
our
memeing
call
right now or what. But
Chad wants a player.
Get Blade, honestly. Blade wants to come in.
oh goodness.
The Yasuo prodigy of soap.
Yeah.
What's good? What's good?
Hey, what's good,
Welcome.
Blade?
What's going on, homie?
So, give us a deep dive into this Yasuo brain.
Basically,
we were making fun of you a little bit earlier, but does
let me.
it really just evaporate and you're sort of just on muscle memory?
So when I play Yasuo, and specifically for this series, I kind of just said, "They let me play Yasuo, so I'm gonna turn my brain off and not play the game." Basically, just I'm not playing the game. I'm playing Yasuo. The guy Yasuo is the game at that point. So gotta embrace that mindset of turning off your brain when you're playing Yasuo. Just you gotta
Not much of a choice when you're
write it
laning
down.
against the Malphite, really.
Yeah.
You have
That
to turn
was
off your brain or you lose your sanity.
that was so tough, man. I wanted to lane against Veigar, and that's why we lane station. That's why I played mid lane. But Malphite went mid lane, and we never lane switched after that for some odd reason.
Yeah, we were definitely having some fun in the caster booth talking about the seesaw that was going on. It's always fun when that happens. I do respect your choice for going Dream Dragon Yasuo. I think it's far superior to its truth counterpart.
I
So
disagree,
shout out.
but
Wait, why are you using it?
because I don't have the other one.
Charlatan.
I didn't even buy that. Someone bought that skin for me because
Oh my gosh. Well, all right. You're
Yep.
lucky
So
I'm a caster, so I can't say my choice words to you.
was the Yasuo pick? I apologize if we already. I think we may have already touched on this with Toxin earlier with interviews. But was the Yasuo pick your idea, or was it like
Oh
as soon
yeah.
as it got through, you're like, I know I'm playing Yasuo.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I think
Okay.
I think even if Toxin said not to play Yasuo, I would have fought him. But like we're going, we're
Yeah, you
going
would
at it.
have.
Yes, Toxin, I would have fought you.
I know you would have.
I am playing
I know.
Yasuo, regardless of what you think.
What was it? It was like a couple series ago where Yasuo went through, and every series before that, he's like, "Pick me Yasuo," like on repeat whenever it was his turn. And eventually, I was just like, you know what? Fine, we're gonna let you play Yasuo. He stomped, and I was like, all right, I guess we're just picking this every game now.
Gotta figure out who's your win condition. And that's obviously me every single game.
Mhm. But you didn't
I
even
like
hit
the
your 10 death power
confidence.
spike in
Oh,
either
and 10
game.
power spike.
Yeah, you didn't
At
ever hit
either
it.
game.
You didn't reach it.
So, I mean, I
What,
only
what
You're
was
hit
your
that.
not.
I
That
hit that
close.
spike once in a blue moon.
what was your thought process as soon as you took that bot lane inhibitor? When you're starting like, yeah, I'm going after Veigar.
No,
Let's
I'll
tower
actually
dive
tell
the
you.
Veigar.
I'll tell you exactly what my thought process was. My mid laner is like, okay, Blair, you should back off. I said, I don't think so, and I just, I thought
Oh
I did a little
no.
more damage, so I was like, I'm gonna try and kill him. Turns out, I didn't even do the most damage I could with the combo, and I didn't one shot him. I
Is
actually
it
did
one of
a.
those situations where you were gonna back off, but they told you to back off, so now you can't back off. You have to stay and dive. They're like, you just have to prove them
I think
wrong.
I think regardless of what they said there, I would have gone in and tried to kill Veigar because I kind of forgot that their
Okay.
entire team was still in base.
Mm,
You know what? Respect, respect.
true.
You know, it's all about the limit test at that point.
I've tested too much on Yasuo for that to be a valid reason.
Understood.
All right. Well, I think that barring any final questions you want to get in Wizard, speak now or forever hold your peace.
I asked my main questions. Thank you guys for coming out. We appreciate you joining our post match interview. That being said, congratulations to TD Shadows taking the finals against BDE Druid. Nice clean 3-0 sweep.
Yep. Thank you guys very much for joining us in the interview box. And like we said, we wish you a very hearty congratulations on taking the first place in Runeterra Academy's freshman class second semester. TD Shadow, your winners, ladies and gentlemen.
Bye.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. So I think that's gonna wrap it us up for us here in the freshman class, not just tonight, but for maybe a little while after this as well. Thank you all for joining us in this second semester of Runeterra Academy and your continued support. We had some big viewer numbers tonight. Always excited to see that. Don't forget to tune in tomorrow, where I believe the sophomore grand finals will take place at 7:32 p.m. I think was the agreed time.
32? Very
7:32
specific.
p.m. Between, let me double check, the Blue Sprouts and Team Ambition Wolves. Production has not yet told me I'm wrong in that, so I think I'm actually right about it this time. At 7:32 p.m. tomorrow night, that will be sophomore grand finals between Blue Sprouts and Team Ambition Wolves. Be sure to tune in for that as well. But for the final time, for a little bit, my name is Tajgar, or Taj for short, joined on the desk by the amazing Wee Wizard. Big thanks to our producer, Wookie Monster, tonight, as well as our LOL director, PVS, in the server, making sure what goes around comes around. I'm not sure if I use that right. And of course, we can end a stream without, of course, giving a big shout out and thank you to our very own headmaster Red, the captain at the helm, making sure all of this can actually happen. So big thanks to them. And once again, big thanks to you all for joining us tonight. Wishing you a very good night. Signing off. Bye.